Let's rock.
La cucaracha,
La cucaracha, ba da 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 da
da
da,
da
da da da da, la cucaracha, ba da da ba da 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 da.
Arriba
Arriba
and hola, everybody,
and bonjour.
and Bon Jovi. Welcome back to
How's everyone doing tonight?
another exciting episode of Nerd Shit in the Dark. It is our Cinco de Mayo.
Yep.
Little voice crack there. Cinco
Cinco
de
de
Mayo.
Mayo.
It's our Cinco de Mayo.
It's our Cinco de Mayo special.
Braden and I are here at the usual good studio, our main studio.
Our main studio
Our
that
main
we pay
studio.
we pay rent on.
We pay rent on, and we're just celebrating. We're
yeah.
celebrating Cinco de Mayo.
Cinco de Mayo is a holiday that's very near and dear to our hearts
and our culture
in Western Pennsylvania.
Yeah, so we pregame with May the 4th.
Yes.
Yesterday. May the 4th be with everybody.
May the 4th be with everyone.
This was originally going to be a Star Wars special, but then I realized we were recording on the Cinco de Mayo, so I was like, never mind.
Cinco de Mayo special.
It's our Cinco de Mayo special.
And Chase, does whatever we're doing today have anything to do with Cinco de Mayo?
We're drinking.
That's true.
So that's about as close
It's about
as
as
we
Cinco
can
de
get.
Mayo as we're gonna get with this episode.
Do you have anything Cinco de Mayo-ish?
No.
Yeah, so the really only thing special about it is we're recording on
Honestly,
Cinco. We're drinking.
Gun to my head, if you had a gun to my head right now, I could not tell you what Cinco de Mayo is about.
It's 5th of May.
Is it Mexican Independence Day? Or is it something like that? Is that what I'm thinking? Or am I off?
I have no idea
Jamie,
either.
Jamie, pull it up.
See? See, what's it say about Cinco de Mayo? What is the point of Cinco? You know what? No, I gotta.
Chase, pull it up.
I'll Google it.
Pull it up
I'll
right
Google
now.
it real quick.
I can pull it up right now, but I want to tell you to pull it up.
Talk about some T-shirts while I Google
Okay.
Cinco de Mayo.
So, as we've been talking about, Nerd Shit in the Dark is branching into the merch business right now. So we are currently in the works of making some Nerd Shit in the Dark t-shirts.
Merch.
So I suggest if you are interested in any of the designs of our t-shirts, we can post them. The designs probably up on the website or some Patreon or something probably. We'll post the designs for you if you're interested in a shirt. Please let us know. My buddy Jared is doing them for us. It's his own personal business.
Who's not the same as our buddy Jared.
Yes, different Jared.
Different Jareds.
Jared is a very common name around here.
How does your Jared spell his name? Do you know?
Jared.
That's usually how it goes.
Yeah.
Our Jared is Jarrod.
RROD.
Yes.
Wow, I've had his name in my phone as Jared.
You are wrong.
Yep.
You can change it.
I will.
You better.
Gerard.
Gerard. Some people.
Why
That's
don't we
like
call him Gerard?
That's a nickname of his that he's had.
Yeah.
In high school, like Gerard.
Gerard.
Some people call him that. I don't, but that's what some people call him.
Yeah.
So yeah, definitely. If you want T-shirts, hit us up. nerdshitinthedark@gmail.com.
Yep.
Size, address to send the shirts. I'm thinking of making coffee cups too. So just like we're gonna start doing merch here. So if you want one, hit us up.
Yeah, but check out the
Gmail,
Patreon or
Patreon page,
whatever. For
we have the Instagram page, wherever you can message
we'll
or get
throw
a
the
hold of us.
designs up. Yeah.
Yeah, I plan on putting designs for this stuff on the Instagram page, so you can look for it there. In other news, I'm just gonna read to the class, the Wikipedia
Yeah. Let's
opening article
solve this
on
mystery.
Wikipedia. So Cinco de Mayo, or as some people call it, the 5th of May,
yeah.
is a yearly celebration held on May 5th to celebrate Mexico's victory over the Second French Empire at the Battle of Puebla in 1862, led by General Ignacio Zaragoza. In Zaragoza, he died months after the battle from an illness, and a larger French force ultimately defeated the Mexican army at the Second Battle of Puebla and occupied Mexico City. However, following the end of the American Civil War, in 1865, the United States began lending money and guns to the Mexican liberals, pushing France and Mexican conservatives to the edge of defeat. At the opening of the French chambers in January 1866, Napoleon III announced that he would withdraw French troops from Mexico. In reply to a French request for American neutrality, the American Secretary of State, William H. Seward, replied that French withdrawal from Mexico should be unconditional. So, ultimately, they won a battle in 1862 that didn't really do anything for years and years later.
Apparently just a morale victory, because we're still talking about it to this day.
Sure, yeah.
Yeah.
That's fun.
That's fun. I guess it's just an excuse to drink.
Just an excuse to drink. Well, hey, I'm here with them.
Let's do it.
You're here with them. We're going to drink. We're going to talk nerd shit.
Shalom.
Thank you to those Mexicans in the 1860s.
Yeah, thank you for beating the French, because honestly, who likes them?
Fuck the French.
Fuck the French.
That's the thing. People are always mean to Mexicans in this area. Well, this area specifically, but in America.
Yeah.
But, like, Mexico is America. Not United States of America.
Like North America.
But it's all
Yeah.
America.
Yeah, we're all Americans.
Fuck. So, cheers.
Cheers.
Cheers to beating the French, who are not Americans.
Nope,
Even a
strictly
little.
not. Nope.
So, yeah. There's that. So that's how we're celebrating our
Yeah.
Cinco de Mayo special.
We're dedicating a podcast to it. How many people have done that?
Probably not anyone else.
No.
Except us.
No one's ever done it.
Buy our stuff. Cool. So, what's new? What's going on? What's new with you, Braden?
Do you want like new like personal life or new in like nerd shit?
Whatever you feel like
What do you think?
rambling on about.
All right.
What do you want to give to the shitters?
I don't know. Let me think. What's new in my life? Well, you know,
No.
job searching.
Job searching.
Yeah.
Summer's coming up, so I guess, yeah.
Summer sure is coming up. New school year coming up. Looking for new jobs and new school years for more lucrative opportunities. You know, teaching field, very lucrative field, but you got to pick your battles. No, but yeah, I'm looking for new jobs. Kaylee is graduating, so that's fun. Mm-hmm. So she's also doing the same thing.
Nice.
And basically just been chilling. Found out that I have a long lost evil twin brother.
Not Creighton?
Not Creighton, another different one.
Different
no.
one.
Yeah. So that's surprising. Yeah, we were twins at the same time. So I guess we were triplets.
What?
So me, Creighton, and this other man, we just didn't know about him.
Okay.
Yeah.
Until just recently.
Yeah, just recently.
What's his name?
Jaden.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
You have a crazy life.
I do.
Huh.
Yeah, so me, Creighton, and Jaden have just been, you know,
Getting back
getting back to business.
to
Getting back,
knowing each other.
snapping back to reality.
What's Jaden like? What's he into?
He's gay.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay. Huh. So, okay. Interesting.
Yeah.
That's different than you and Creighton.
Sure is. Yeah, we're both very straight men.
What's his hair color?
Blue.
Blue.
Yeah.
Wow.
Naturally.
That's big.
Yeah.
Wow. How'd you find him?
Craigslist.
Oh.
Yeah.
Huh.
You know, we just put out like notices for long lost evil twins.
But he
and-
was lost and you didn't know about him and he just found himself.
yeah, and he
too?
saw it. He's like, I think we have a DNA connection.
Damn.
Yeah.
That's cool. I just saw a thing about how, like, what's that thing, DNA and me or whatever? That.
23andMe?
Yeah, that. There's some new thing with that going on. So
Is there?
I don't know. I saw an article about it. I didn't click on it. Kind of like the thing you're going to be talking about later. I saw an article. I
Right.
didn't click on it.
You really are not an authority on the
And
subject
now
at
I'm
all.
here talking about it as if I should.
This is just something you saw online.
Classic American of me.
Yep.
To have
Don't
no
actually know
knowledge.
anything
It's
about
just-
it. Yeah.
I'm just going to talk
I
about
saw
it.
it online once in a headline.
Cool. That's cool. That's
Yep.
cool. I don't have anything really new.
Nothing
going on.
new.
I mean, once like I said,
Being
man,
a dad.
just being a dad.
Yep.
Cut my hair, shave my beard. That's what I got going on. I can either grow my hair or I can cut it.
Yep.
And
And you
once you
cut it.
reach this
You chose
point-
to cut it this time.
I chose to cut it this time.
Yeah, so that's pretty interesting. That's really interesting. Do you want to go? Do you want to walk us through this decision making process of you cutting your hair? Do you think shitters want to know that?
So when I had Sora, I thought it'd be cool to go through a grubby dad era. So I
Yeah.
thought I wouldn't shave and I wouldn't get a haircut. I actually missed a haircut, and that's what inspired it. I missed a haircut by accident,
Okay.
and I said
Yeah,
I won't
done that
reschedule till
before.
May.
Been there.
And it's been a long journey.
Mm-hmm.
Boy, did it suck. I haven't had to like do the head flip to get the
Yeah.
hair out of the way in a long time. Started having to do that again. I mean, you see my hair now. This is how it is usually.
Yeah.
My ears are not only out.
Yeah,
but,
you look like you normally do now.
Yeah, but I had hair over my ears, over my eyes.
You were a scruffy boy.
My beard was fucking massive.
You were a scruffaluffagus.
I was a scruffaluffagus.
Yeah.
And I just thought I'd cut it in May because to me, May is sort of, it's that college start of summer.
It's gonna be May.
It's sunny. It's basically time. And I was like, it's time to be fresh. And here I am. I'm fresh again.
You're fresh and fit.
Fly fresh and, as you said, younger looking.
Yep.
So.
You're 30 years young.
I'm 30 years young. 31 years.
31 years young.
Yeah, almost 32. Birthday's coming up.
Yep.
So.
Seasoned.
I guess. I feel good, though. That's what's most important. But all that aside, I can't believe we've already been going for 11 minutes.
Well,
let's drop into some new nerd shit because
we
have quite a bit. So to celebrate, we're starting a new topic or a new segment later. It's less of an in the dark segment, and we're starting our shit talk segment.
Yes.
But I also don't know if it's the shit talk segment.
right, because we might like it.
We might like it.
Yeah.
Braden and I are going to cover for Star Wars Day. We're going to be covering both Rebel Moon movies. We're watching them both, and we're going to see what we think. And
I'm going to tell you what. I'm going to go in this with the complete bias that these are good movies.
I'll tell you this. Me and Miranda watched the first hour, and like nothing crazy happens in the first. We watched it back when the first one came out. There was nothing about it that I hated. So
right.
I'm just curious.
That's what I'm gonna go in with extra bias towards these are good movies and I should like them.
Maybe.
So I'm not influenced by the bias of all the online internet discourse I've seen that says these are terrible movies and I should not like them. Oh my
god! I heard people just spoiler free ripping on the second one.
Yeah.
And I was just like, I fucking got it.
So I am going to tell you, I'm not going to be impartial. I am going to do my absolute darndest to love these movies.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I'll try to do the same. I mean, every movie I watch, I want to like.
Yeah.
It's up to the movie to convince me.
So you're not getting an unbiased perspective on this one.
That's right.
I'm going to be gunning for you to watch Rebel Moon. For my boy, Snack Snyder.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see. But if they do suck, it is the beginning of our shit talk.
Yeah, if they do suck, I'm
gonna
shit on it, but I'm gonna really try hard to like it.
Yeah, I mean, at least visually it should be good, but we'll see. But that's later. We'll get to that. Right now, we're just gonna do new nerd shit and go from there. So, Braden, you had a couple things. Do one of yours. I'll do one of mine.
I'll get into mine.
We'll go back and forth.
Yeah. So, Chase, I want you to I'm gonna ask you a question.
Ask me.
Do you like Baldur's Gate?
Do I like Fuck me.
Do you like Baldur's Gate?
I do like Baldur's Gate. I actually think I love Baldur's Gate.
Would you say you love Baldur's Gate?
I would say I love Baldur's Gate.
Yeah. So, Chase, do you also like being in charge of things?
You could say that, yeah.
Like perhaps being like a king?
Ooh.
Like people...
I think the world will sing when I'm king.
Yeah. So you like being a king.
I like being in charge.
You like being in charge.
You called me boss the other day and I touched myself a little.
I thought you'd like that.
Just my nipples.
Yeah. So you like being in charge and you love Baldur's Gate. What if I were to tell you that there's a game out there that is just like Baldur's Gate 3 with the added dimension of you being a king of your own barony and you have to build up your barony and become more powerful and become like a world power, but you're also doing Baldur's Gate at the same time?
I'm intrigued. I'm definitely curious. Show your work.
Yes. So, I've been recently playing a game called Pathfinder Kingmaker.
I've heard of this game.
You have?
Yes.
What have you heard?
I really don't know what I've heard. It sounds very familiar to me.
So,
Pathfinder Kingmaker. I'm sure if I saw it, it would click, but tell me about it.
So, Pathfinder... So it's essentially
a series of games,
yes,
right?
It's a series of games. So Kingmaker is the one I've been playing, which is the one where you can become a king. But Pathfinder, it's set in, D&D rules and universe. It's exactly like Baldur's Gate, where it's D&D but in video game form. And it plays very similarly to Baldur's Gate, like the combat, the turn-based systems, but with a few tweaks to it. Like there's just slightly different aspects to it. It's a bit of an older game than Baldur's Gate 3, so the graphics aren't as good. But you look past that because
It's not that, like, how old is it? It's not, like, super old.
I think it was like mid 2010s it came out.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. I'd have to look it up, which I should.
Graphic schmaffics.
Yeah, graphic schmack. Yeah, it's not great graphics, but it is a very fun game. So it's basically, if you love Baldur's Gate, you will like this game because it plays the exact same way. It has the exact same premises where you have companions and parties, and you can switch out your companions and parties, and they all have their own backstories and like different things that you can do to go along with them. And it's basically, so the essential beginning premise of these games are that there's this world power that gives an open casting call to adventurers, saying that if they can defeat this one bandit king in what's known as the Stolen Lands, which is where you play the game at, is in the Stolen Lands, you can be given a title of a barony there and like eventually build your way up to king. But basically, like, the Stolen Lands, there are these lands that are, you know, full of curses and bandits and evil and all kinds of things, and no one can like settle there. But if you, as the main character, can defeat the forces there, you can build your own kingdom there and like take control. And so that's just the first part of the game, is like defeating this bandit lord and getting
the beginning, you'd
that's
say.
the beginning, and getting your own kingdom.
And your party, is it like, how many people are in? You're like
you can have up to 6 people in your party.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it's like, okay.
And it's the same thing that, you know, they have classes, like it's all D&D classes, so like rogue, cleric, ranger, all that. I play a ranger, as I
RPG
normally
shit.
do. Yeah, RPG shit. And yeah, it's plays the exact same way as Baldur's Gate, except there's like a map element to it, where like you travel on this map, and like travel takes like a certain amount of hours, and you have to rest for a certain number of days, and like the more days pass, the more kingdom events will come up that you need to like go back to your capital to solve. And so like you have certain set time limits to like do certain things, but you still have free reign. And the time limits, even though they are restrictive, are generally pretty generous.
Yeah.
Where like you can still get it done.
Yeah.
Like you don't feel like this is super hard, that like I'm gonna fail the game because I can't do everything at once.
That's what it reminds me of, like in Dragon's Dogma 2, it tells you like, yo, some missions that you go on, if you don't do them in a certain amount of time, they will go away.
Right.
But you still have
a lot of time to do it.
Yeah.
Like they give you
days.
They give you more than enough time to complete all the missions. But yeah, you play through this story of like building this young barony, and like you have to like defeat certain elements. Like I just got through this quest where there was like a troll army that was like invading my kingdom, and I had to defeat the troll king. And you get like benefits out of that then, like, you know, some of the trolls join me then, and like some of them like, you know, yeah, like it's stuff like that where you build up over time. And so
and
like
you have like maybe like army battles at times, or is it just
there's been no, so like your barony has stats that like depending on what you do and what you build up, you can like increase those stats. So like there is a military stat that like you build certain buildings or do certain things,
but you're not
increases
specifically playing that part of the game, you're just enforcing it,
right? But like the combat stuff,
I get it,
that comes from you adventuring. So like adventuring is a big part of the game, where like you go out of your capital and you go to like different locations on the map and explore things there, and it's, you know, it's like a dungeon where you go through it, and there's different pods of enemies that you activate and fight, and like if they're too strong you can come back later when you're stronger and level up and all that. So it's a very interesting game, where because it's Baldur's Gate with all the adventuring and you know, items and like very, very similar.
Does the control the same? Like, do you click, or do you like
point and click, like it's turn based. Well, that's one thing I will get into. So the combat system, you have the option of,
it's important to me.
Yes, you have the option of it being turn based, like in Baldur's Gate, where it's the same thing. People roll initiative. You have spells and moves and all that, and actions and all that plays the exact same way. But you could,
I like knowing how to do that. Like, I'm more willing to start a game that's like Baldur's Gate now that I know what I'm doing.
That's why I figured, like, if you like Baldur's Gate, you will like this game because you're already knowledgeable on how these kind of games play.
Yeah.
There is a learning curve if you don't know how these kind of turn-based games play.
Does it teach you like how Baldur's Gate doesn't?
Yes.
Oh,
It does teach
It does. Well, that's nice.
Yeah, there's tutorials and stuff that you can.
So if people haven't played Baldur's Gate 3, maybe play this game first, because Baldur's Gate 3 does not teach you fucking shit.
I would say honestly, if like you aren't sure if you would like Baldur's Gate 3, to actually start with this game first. Though I will say, yeah, we'll get into like the different aspects of it, but like the one thing with combat, it's exactly the same as Baldur's Gate, except you have the option to turn off turn-based mode, where it goes into automatic mode, where like, because like every once in a while you'll get into like a fight where you're like over leveled, and like you're gonna beat these people, but it just takes a long time because it's turn-based and you have to get through everyone's turns before you can kill everyone.
Yeah.
So you can choose to just turn off the turn-based mode, and your characters will just automatically fight them.
Oh, okay.
And if they're stronger than...
that's different.
Yeah, and if they're stronger than them, they'll kill them. If they're not, they'll get killed.
Kind of like in Scarlet and Violet, where you could just send your Pokemon to kill. Okay.
Yeah, and so like if you're confident that you're going to win this fight, you can just turn off turn-based mode and just skip that part.
I like that.
Yeah, so it like saves time, a lot of that. But yeah, there's a big story that's going on of like if you're interested in the stories. Like I'm normally not super interested in like companion stories, but like reading through them, there's actually some really interesting written stuff that they have here.
Some of these games, sometimes like, I don't know about you, but the older I've gotten, the less I've cared about story.
Yeah.
But if there's a good story, I'll start to care. But in most games, I'm like clicking past the story because I just want to play the game.
Same way, I'm just like, there's so much dialogue, I just want to click past so I get to the actual playing of the game.
This one kind of draws you into it.
Yeah, like there's some genuinely well-written stuff in here. Like it's done really well. And so yeah, it's exactly like Baldur's Gate, but with the added aspect of like strategy, I guess like management and like building up your barony kind of thing.
I'm looking this up right now.
Yeah, because it's like a different aspect of the game where like there's constantly decisions that you have to make with your barony and like advisors that you can assign to like do them, and like depending on how well you do with them, it increases your barony stats or it lowers your barony stats, and it gives you more problems.
Very involved.
Yeah, and so it's like that aspect on top of the D&D
on top of Baldur's Gate,
adventuring Baldur's Gate stuff. Yeah.
Okay.
So it's like a very cool different take on the D&D experience.
Yeah.
Where you're also like a king, and it plays it up too, where it's like, yeah, you have the right to like fucking do kingly shit and like make these cool decisions.
Pretty sick.
Yeah.
I mean, this is what I built a computer for, is to play more games.
Yeah.
Like Baldur's Gate. So I am definitely... My Steam's not loading right now, so I can't look in it. You're playing it on Steam, I'm assuming?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, you can play it on Steam. It's been around for a while.
Yeah.
So there's plenty of, I've gotten, it's cheap. I've gotten stuck on a few things and had to look it up and how to get through it. There's
that's helpful with games, yeah.
Because it's not an easy game. Like it is challenging. It's not overly challenging to where it's like impossible.
Okay.
But
I know
it does
why I know about this.
Force you to think. Yeah.
Wait, maybe not. Is Pathfinder... Hold on. Sorry. There's a bunch of these games.
Yeah, there's a ton of them.
Kingmaker, Enhanced. It's only $20. Wrath of the Righteous. That's newer. Pathfinder Gals. I thought there was one called something else. Hold on. Not important. But I've definitely heard of this series before.
Yeah.
Oh.
This is the first in the Pathfinder series I've played.
Yeah.
And I got it literally from looking up like
games
what
like
are some fun adventuring games like Baldur's Gate.
Yeah.
And they're like, yeah, that's one.
Sick. Oh man, there's a lot of them. I love when there's a lot in a series.
Yeah.
It's problematic for me because I have a problem of buying all of them and then only playing one and then the other will sit.
Right.
But I'm getting better at that.
I was like that with Mountain Blade.
Dude, I'm like that with everything I fucking start. And I actually stopped myself today from buying a different game in another game series that I'm playing because I was like, just play this one.
I know. Well, that's how I got this game.
Too many games.
Because I knew I needed something new to talk about that wasn't Tears of the Kingdom, because I'm still playing my way through that.
I was going to ask you about that next, yeah.
I'm still playing my way through that. I'm just doing all the extra side stuff now.
Yeah.
I haven't done the main quest in a while.
That's the fun of Tears of the Kingdom, is there's a lot.
Yeah.
The side quests. But it's good to have another game to play.
Yeah.
While you're waiting to finish that one.
And it's a fun game. Like, it's one I'm into the story of.
Yeah. Cool.
Yeah.
I'll have to check it out. There's way too many games that I'm like playing it on my list. But, if it goes on like a Steam sale, it's definitely fun to have there.
Yeah.
And, if I could play it on my Steam Deck, that would be even better. So.
Yeah. And I would rank it like, just below Baldur's Gate 3 in terms of enjoyment. And
Wow.
that's only
That
because
is a statement.
yeah, and that's only because it's an older game.
Yeah.
That like there's, Baldur's Gate improved a few minor things than this game had, but it's still the bones of the game are very strong.
Well, I'll have to find my own path and walk toward it
You sure will.
and become a king.
Perhaps make yourself a king.
God damn. If you call me boss made me rub my nipples, fuck. What's this game gonna make me do? Not my computer. Oh my god. Yeah, I'll check it out. I will definitely. I still haven't finished Baldur's Gate 3, so I have no right to start a different game.
Right.
But
And I
pick at it. I pick at a lot of games.
Yeah, I'm still actively playing through this game, so I don't know how long it is.
Yeah. How long have you been playing it? Hours wise.
This past week,
It's okay.
pretty much, but like a fair amount of playing.
Okay.
I would say it's probably almost as long as Baldur's Gate
That's a
in
big
terms of
fucking game.
content.
Well, I'll get there. Because eventually I will beat Baldur's Gate, and then I'll need something. Baldur's Gate.
Well, eventually we got to beat it together.
Yeah. I got to beat this game like twice. It's gonna get to a point where you, me, and Jared are gonna beat Baldur's Gate, probably where I beat my solo campaign.
Yeah.
But we'll see what happens in the future. That's cool. But it's good to have. But I also have fucking what are the other games that Larian made that Jared had us buy? The ones they did before Baldur's Gate.
Yeah.
What are those?
Baldur's
games?
Gate 2.
No, not Baldur's. No, because they didn't do Baldur's Gate. Divinity, the Divinity series.
Yeah.
I downloaded that too, so that's just been sitting in my library for months. I assume we'll play that one together. I think that's why Jared had us look into it, was
Right.
so that we could play it together. Cool. Well, I also have a video game
What's the video
that,
game?
in certain aspects, also reminds me of Baldur's Gate, but in a different kind of way.
Do tell.
I will tell. It just came out a couple weeks ago. It's called Eiyuden Chronicles 100 Heroes is the name of the game. And it is a game made by... I've never played these games,
Okay.
but they're very popular. The Suikoden series?
Suikoden.
Yeah.
Suikoden.
They're from like PlayStation 1 era of JRPGs.
Okay.
And
Older games, yeah.
older games, and it's the creator who died earlier this year, actually, before this game released, and another guy. Two people from that studio that made those games started their own studio and made this game.
Okay.
So it's a JRPG series, but it's designed very... I don't want to call it 16-bit graphic, because it's not like how I describe Sea of Stars. It looks a little... In my head, it's what I think Pokemon perfectly should have became, like, walking around wise.
Yeah.
It's very unique where, like, your character are this little 16-bit person that, like, walks around in a kind of three-dimensional, very pretty world. I don't even... It's like three-dimensional, 16-bit, but pretty. I don't really know how to describe it. Water looks real. Trees look real.
But your character doesn't.
You're like a 16-bit guy. But it's not like they look real. They just look really good for 38-bit.
Right.
So it's that. And it's like Ni no Kuni, where like you leave towns and you're in like an overworld map, sort of walking around. And there's random battle encounters. So it's like, instead of like running into enemies and fighting them, it's random battle encounters. But this game's really fun. I'm having a good time. I want to say I'm about 2/3 done with it. I wanted to finish it before today, but I'm not. So the idea of this game is, and I guess this other Suikoden series, you typically have like a party of 6 characters.
Okay.
And I'll start with the combat. The combat setting, it has 2 different combats, but you do more of the, basic JRPG type of fighting in it. Where like monsters fight you, they're on one side of the screen, and you and your characters, and then there's a bar at the top that tells you what order, like based on your speed stats, certain characters are gonna go. So you pick all the moves of all 6 of your characters ahead of time, and then assumingly the bad guy computer picks what they're gonna do, and then it plays out however it says. Like, so 3 of your characters might go first, another 3 of their characters might go. But once all the attacks are picked, or like, because you can do like basic attacks, you can choose to defend, you can choose to use like power attacks that use MP or this SP that are like stronger. You can do team attacks with certain characters that like have like a bond. that's where the Baldur's Gate stuff comes in, but I'll get to that. And then whenever the activities play out, it's all like it's not like one at a time. Sometimes it is, but like sometimes like 2 or 3 characters are just like doing you just watch a battle kind of play out.
Right.
And or you kill something, they kill one of yours, yada yada. So I found that really fun. Because at first the game started and I was like, how does this work? And I didn't know like how to pick, because it's like it made me choose everybody individually at once. I was like, well, what happens? And then you hit battle start and then it all just fucking happens. So that's really fun. I dig that. Still like turn based, but kind of like I've said about other JRPGs I've talked about this year, they put their own little twist on it. I'm sure Suikoden or not. Yeah, Suikoden probably played like that too. I've just never played it, so I don't really know. So it's like that in the combat area. The story of the game, there's a lot going on. So there's this like League of Nations, which are a set of nations that are independent to this empire. And they, at the beginning of the game, they kind of like work together. But then there's like a power source, and then there's some deception behind the scenes that leads the Empire to want to attack the League of Nations. So you are at war with the Empire, but also at the beginning of the game, your main character, his name is Noah, becomes friends with this Imperial. I think his name is like Seal or something, Siel. They become friends.
The singer.
Yes, but no, he's like this blonde guy, but like. And they talk like we might see ourselves on the battlefield together eventually. Like they knew there's a chance these two nations could go to war, but you hope they don't. And then as the game goes on, some tomfuckery goes on, and the Empire and the League of Nations go to war. Right. So you have to basically go to war with these people. But the idea of the game being called 100 Heroes is you are collecting comrades to like join your party. Yeah. So essentially, I'm assuming there are 100 party members that you can get.
Yeah, which is a lot.
I have and like you can only have 6 with you at a time, but there are 100, and I have quite a bit. And that's the thing that I really like about this game is like every character I've kind of stumbled upon, they're all very unique. Everybody, they don't have like the same depth of backstory that a Baldur's Gate character has. Right. But some of them do.
But there is effort.
There is certainly effort on all of them.
Put into these 100 characters.
There is this one character. She is my healer of my group, the kind of cleric character. I love this girl. I don't know what her name is. I can't remember. There's a lot of them. But she like goes from being this like sweet little, like she'll be like, oh, I'm sorry about that, to like, get the hell back! And, like, she's fucking awesome. So, like, every character has, like, a type of personality, and, like, it's all voice like, it's, like I said, it's all, like, 8-bit or 16-bit looking, but there's always, like, text dialogue, and it's all voice acted.
That's
like,
beautiful.
Sometimes you talk to people, and you just have to read it, but for the most part, it's voice acted, and that's a really... You don't see that usually. It's usually a lot of reading.
Pathfinder Kingmaker is also like that. There's a lot of good voice acting.
And, like, I'll read ahead and I'll skip. Like, I won't always listen because, like, they talk kind of slow. Yeah. But it's just nice to know it's there. Like, for the most part, too.
I do the same thing. I appreciate the voice acting. I do still skip the dialogue sometimes. But it's nice that
it's nice that it's there. And, like... My one problem with this game is, though, there's a lot of, like, you don't walk very far and then a random cut scene. I say that very loosely.
A lot of taking you out of the game.
There is a lot of that. Like, too much. So I'll say that. That's not great. It doesn't take you out of it, but it's just, like, I just want to keep, like...
I get that.
Why did I walk 5 feet for another? Like, couldn't we have just
I like story. Going? Like, I'm a person that likes story in a game, but I also like to play the game. Yeah. And when I'm constantly being taken out of the game...
It's a lot. So, like, when I have to get in the mood to play the game, but whenever I am playing it, it's really fun because, like, the map's really huge. You have to go place to place to kind of keep building because you're building this alliance to fight against the Empire and protect your area. So you have to keep finding more people. But also, on the way, you're also like, we'll go to this spot and figure out this side quest story mystery. There's side quests or, like, certain characters, you don't just talk to them. Like, they're just like, if you go do this for me, I'll totally join your alliance. So it's like, oh, we got to go do this to, like... get that character to join our party. And, like, controlling that many characters can be tough, but the game gives you reasons to use certain... Like, sometimes you'll be at a part of the game where it's like, well, you have to have at least these 3 characters. Right. And, like, the level curve, like, once you get to different areas, if somebody's, like, level 8 and, like, you're in an area where, like, you need to be level 16 and your other characters are that level, you win one battle, that dude at level 8 is going to go to, like, 15 like in a fight.
Oh,
So
nice.
it makes leveling people up.
It scales up.
It scales up everybody pretty
good.
nicely. And
Ni no
there's, like,
Kuni did really good at that too. I
Yes.
thought.
Yeah,
Where it's
yeah,
like
yeah.
you get new shit, but like
they had to with that one.
yeah, they scale to the level of your highest leveled thing.
Which I appreciate because like there's so many characters like you like when I had my first 6 I was like, well, I don't want to throw people around, but now I'm tossing people around because everybody has different special abilities like and like you're layered, like there's 3 in the front and there's 3 in the back. So it's like some characters have short distance attacks, long distance, and then medium. So like and like the bad guys too, like you'll have people in the back. So I got like an archer in the back who like can shoot all the way to back villains.
Right.
So that's convenient. So like there's different ways to play. You can have a bunch of cures or you can have a bunch of like people that boost your stats. And I don't even know if I've met all the different types of characters yet, even though I have probably 40 people.
Right.
So that makes it really fun. And like I said, the story is
Keeps
really
it fresh.
charming and the way it looks is really nice. It's one of those games where like you don't have to get like new items, you just upgrade the ones you have, or like you're constantly fighting items that are like this will give you a boost in these stats. So that's pretty nice. I'm really enjoying it. It's a fun little game. And there's a second type of battle style in it, which I've only done that style twice in the whole 20 hours I put in this game. The first time is like a tutorial, so I didn't know how I felt about it, but it's like an army battling because you're building an army, so it kind of becomes an RTS for different times.
Right.
And I just played the second RTS battle yesterday, and that one actually got me really into it, where the first one was just like, they have an army, I have an army, we're pushing our armies at each other to fight.
Right.
But the second one was just so more intense because there was like a line of armies, and then I had 2 armies coming in from one side, and then I didn't know because the story hadn't gotten to this point, but like some guy in my army hired sellswords to come in from another side. So your command, it goes into like RTS battle commanding.
That's really fun.
And
yeah,
like
that sounds really fun.
Every section of the army, like every commander can like boost stats in different ways. So like you have an army guy that can like boost arrow attacks or like. And usually I'm not into RTSs, but yesterday I'm sitting in there, fucking high out of my mind, having a blast. And that's all I did for like 2 hours was because like it was like you had one big battle, the Empire retreated, and then something happened. They came back. We had to do it again. I was like, all right, let's do it again. So that was really cool. Yeah. I prefer the normal 6v6 whatever fighting style, and clearly that's what they're going for most because I've only done this twice, and all the time I've been playing the game, the army battle part.
Right.
But I dug it. It got me into something that I don't typically like playing in games.
I love like hybrid games that can do it well.
Yeah.
Where like they're a little bit of both.
Yeah.
Pathfinder, the one I played, is kind of like that, where it's a hybrid between.
That's why I was kind of asking.
Yeah, D&D adventure, but then at the other end of it, there's management and like management of your berries. Like it's a management game.
Yeah.
And so it's fun.
Yeah.
And so that sounds like it too.
And this game kind of does it too, just in a different, not exactly like Baldur's Gate, but yeah, like Baldur's Gate.
Nice.
And like I said, you meet characters along the way that end up having like there was this king who in the League of Nations that his dad died, so he became the king. He's kind of like a wimp.
Yeah.
But you find out all this backstory, and it just became like, I went from like reading text or like skipping story to just being like, this is actually really compelling. Like this is I'm super into this story all of a sudden. And like this character I would have gave 2 shits about 2 days ago, but now I'm like, all right, this is kind of cool.
Yeah.
Fucking Sam, like he's kind of like a Samwise.
It's a sign of good writing.
It definitely has good writing. The gameplay's fun. I'm very involved. Like I said, it's pretty. Like I wish Pokemon games would have went more in this direction instead of like the 3D open world kind of look.
Right.
I wish they would have just amplified the look they already had, because that's what this game kind of looks like to me. Except for that overworld thing, Pokemon never did like the you leave a place and you're in this big open world.
And you're moving. But
it's fine. It works for these kind of games. Yeah, so that's Eiyuden Chronicles 100 Heroes. There is a side-scroller prequel game called Eiyuden Chronicles Rising that came out last year as they were developing this one. I started playing that. I didn't really get into it, but I plan on doing it because I kind of also... It's like a slashy, more Castlevania-esque. So I'm like, yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, so I
they
plan on getting to that
experiment with a lot of different things.
Yes, they experiment. And at first, like, when the RTS battle in the tutorial part started, I was like... I hate this. I hope that... And that was pretty long in the game. when that started, I was
Right.
like, oh, where did this?
It's a long part in the game to introduce a new element.
Right, and I was like, oh, I don't like this, and I didn't. But then I got into the one yesterday, and I was like, fuck, I can't wait to do this again. And like, story is going on. Like in the middle of that, the friend character that my guy met was like, wait, something's wrong here. The Empire's being controlled by somebody evil, I think. And then, like, his army joined me, and, like, one of the other guys left, and it was just like, oh, my God, what is going on? It was crazy. It was fun.
Nice.
I was very involved. So that's that game.
Sounds very compelling.
Yeah. I'm sure I had more I wanted to say about it. Well, I'll follow up when I finish it next episode, because I plan on beating it this week. But
Yeah.
And I looked into it. It's only, like, 30 hours. 30 to 50 hour game.
Oh, very easy commitment.
Yeah, compared to a lot of games. So
Nice.
yeah, so that's my game for Cinco de Mayo.
Well, very good.
And that's all I really got to say about it for now. Eiyuden Chronicles, 100 Heroes. Check it out. Just came out. You can get it on pretty much everything. It's free on Game Pass, so I fucking downloaded that shit and I've been rocking it for a couple weeks.
Nice.
So what else do you got for me?
So I don't have any new nerd shit. I do have an update on old new nerd shit.
Okay,
So
works for me.
people will recall a few podcasts ago, I talked about Helldivers 2 and how much I've fallen in love with this game. And I still love this game. It's a very fun game. But recently, there's been some controversy online that I just feel like we should mention because it's been such a big controversy and it was something we talked about on the podcast and it's being mentioned everywhere on the internet.
As there was no controversy before. It was
No
just
controversy
a really good
before.
game.
No, beyond
a good game.
beyond like the minor like people complaining about certain updates or like certain buffs or debuffs on certain weapons. Like there was this game was very popular.
Yeah.
So basically, Helldivers 2 was made by the studio Arrowhead. Arrowhead had Sony as its publisher for the game. So the game Helldivers is published under Sony, but it was made by the studio Arrowhead. So just as a quick update for people who might not be aware, Helldivers 2 is a live service game made by Arrowhead that is a game that's constantly updated and has like a continuing story that people can participate in as time goes on. It's a galactic war. That's the story. So they're constantly adding
Sounds
to it.
cool, man. I really do need to
It's a
pick it
very
up.
cool game. It's very fun. It was super successful, like right out the gate, and maintained that success for months afterwards. Arrowhead had been working on Helldivers 2 for 7 years. I
Jesus.
saw. So this has been a long, ongoing project that worked out massively well for them. Sony, in their recent executive wisdom, looked at the success of Helldivers 2 and decided that they weren't making enough money off of it. And so they made the recent decision to make it so that anyone who plays Helldivers 2 has to link a PlayStation Network account. Now, you would think that wouldn't be a big deal.
That's a tall order, though, this late in the game.
This late in the game. You would think that
It's not
wouldn't
for
be...
months.
And it wouldn't be a big deal if this requirement came with the game right out the bat.
Sure, yeah.
But it didn't. This game operated successfully without this requirement for months.
Yeah.
And it was doing very well. So why is this a big deal? Well, basically, PlayStation is not offered in a lot of countries. Like the PlayStation Network accounts are like not offered or supported in a lot of different countries.
And I don't think I knew this until you brought it up to me.
Yeah, they're only supported in around 60 or so countries. And, over 200 people from over 200 countries were playing Helldivers.
Yeah.
So basically anyone from China, anyone from Eastern Europe, a lot of places in Africa, a lot of places in, I said China, but just a lot of places in Asia in general, Russia, all those places, I don't believe PlayStation networks are supported.
Damn.
But the difference is that this game was sold in those places
Yeah.
before this requirement was a thing. So people had already bought the game and were playing it for months at this point before this decision came about. And so basically, they have no option other than to just refund the game.
Yeah.
Because they can't get a PlayStation account because it's not supported in their country. So thousands of people, potentially hundreds of thousands of people, got their access restricted to this game around the world because the main idea, like the main speculation that people have been speculating into why executives did this, the Sony executives did this, was because speculators speculating was because they wanted to artificially inflate the amount of people subscribing to PlayStation Network for like their quarterly shareholder meetings to show that like, oh, our subscriber numbers are up.
You think they would have known? You know what I mean? That those people in all those countries that don't have it just couldn't have it. You know?
I think they did know. I just don't think they cared.
That's so fucking weird.
Yeah. And
because I don't know if it really helps.
Well, and
you lose a lot of. You might get more, but you lose people too. Yeah.
And that's why everyone's so pissed off. Is like this was a very greedy and short-sighted decision. From at least that's what it appears. So I didn't run the numbers. I wasn't in Sony board meetings of what led to this decision.
Yeah.
But from what it seems like, anyone who's in a country that's, doesn't support PlayStation is screwed. Arrowhead Studios is screwed because they had this super successful game that was basically kneecapped by their publisher, which is a much bigger company than they are, because Arrowhead's a lot smaller than Sony.
Yeah, it's Sony.
So they don't have, like, they're not the main power in that relationship. Like, pretty much what Sony says goes.
Yeah.
So Arrowhead doesn't have a lot of choice in this, even though it's their game.
Do you think Sony will change? I mean, this is new. This just happened.
So the CEO of Arrowhead recently tweeted out saying that he's in talks with Sony to try and fix the problem.
Yeah.
But he said, like, he made it clear, like, they're not the decision maker in this scenario.
Ugh.
So it's very tough. But
That sucks.
a lot of people are pissed. Like, even people from countries that it's like PlayStation Network is still supported are pissed just because it's on principle, a greedy decision that cuts off a lot of other players. And also, like, PC players have to link a PlayStation account. So if PC players don't have a PlayStation account, they either have to make one or they can't play the game, which is just shitty.
Yeah.
And it would have been, like I said, it would have been fine
from the start.
if
Like,
it was,
Diablo's kind of like, no matter what you buy Diablo on, you gotta have a Blizzard account.
because that's what you expect. It's
Right.
like that's what the game was made for.
Yeah.
But in this case, and supposedly people have been refunding the game in countries that don't support it. But I've been hearing that Sony's been pissed off at Steam for even allowing refunds.
Yeah.
Like, they were happy with taking the money and run. They don't care that, like, these people bought a game that they can't play. They care that they got their money.
It's very strange. I mean, Sony's usually pretty, I don't know, friendly toward their
You would think. But,
people that buy their shit, but
if something they see is going to make them a lot of money, they don't necessarily care if the users are having a good time.
yeah.
If it's going to make them a lot of money.
Well, it sucks too for a game that like kind of involves community involvement to complete tasks.
So that's another
When
thing.
you lose a whole country's worth of people playing a game.
Yeah, so that's another thing.
It was record. I saw a thing a couple weeks ago about like some sort of army came in and like the numbers, like people beat it so fast that even what's the studio?
Arrowhead.
They were like, fuck.
Yeah.
Jeez, they really did that a lot faster than we thought.
Yes, it was massively successful. Yeah, they put out major orders, which are like things that the community needs to work towards. So they'll say like, you need to liberate this planet. So like the community all has to play on that planet and complete missions to liberate that planet. And they don't have to play on that planet. You're not restricted to playing on just that planet. But if you don't, the major order will get completed slower with the less people playing on it. And, like, you'll get less rewards. But with this community that they fostered, because it is a community-based event, or a community-based game, it has been kind of a blowback because there have been coordinated efforts of, like, review bombing the game. So recently, Helldivers went from overwhelmingly positive reviews on Steam to within the past week going to negative reviews.
Oh God.
So overall, it went from overwhelmingly positive to mixed, And recently, it went from overwhelmingly positive to negative.
That's so sad.
Yeah.
Especially since I've heard nothing but good things about this game.
It's a great game.
Yeah.
Like, it definitely doesn't deserve it. Like, I don't think the
But it
studio
makes sense. I mean,
deserves it.
dude, you need to do that. It
like,
says
yeah.
it makes a statement.
That's literally the only thing, like, consumers can do to make their voices heard in this case.
Yeah.
Because otherwise...
As they should.
Yeah, because otherwise Sony's just going to do it and get away with it. And they likely still will get away with it. They likely will make more money off of this than if they didn't do it,
I'd like
which
to
is
hope they
shitty.
fix it, but we'll see.
Yeah, but that's just the way things go. So yeah, if you've heard controversy with Helldivers 2 and didn't know what it's about, that's what it's about.
I did not, and now you have informed me.
Yeah.
And, well, I have a PlayStation 5 and I have a PlayStation account, so I'll be buying the game and playing it. No,
and
I'm
I
just
do,
kidding.
and I do
But-
know recently
Not
that
time.
Helldivers has officially been delisted from those countries, so you can't even find it on the store.
That's so sad.
Anymore. So if you have the game and you're from that country, you can't play it. You just have to refund it.
Yikes. That sucks. I hate that. I hate that for those people because, like, I can't imagine just being really into a game that I'm playing and then one day it's just like, oh, because you live here, you can't play it anymore. Be like,
Yeah.
oh, fuck. Yeah.
What's the thing? Like,
Dirty.
Like, I'm pretty sure.
Sony, I love you for a lot of decisions and things you do. Spider-Man 2,
It's great.
Spider-Man Multiverse.
Morbius.
What's what's the one out of the Spider-Verse? Great movies.
Into the Spider-Verse.
PlayStation's usually awesome. PS4, 5, love them. What the fuck are you doing? This is some bullshit. This is some Nintendo level of just being an asshole
Just being
to your consumers.
Corporate fuckery.
So
yeah.
just don't do that. I know they're not listening to us.
Don't
but
fuck over Arrowhead Studios. They don't deserve it.
Yeah.
From what everything I've seen, they appear to be
They
a
made a
studio
great game.
that
They made 2 great games.
made a great game, and they genuinely listen to and care about user feedback and try to like implement those changes as much as possible. So like they're like,
Yeah.
they don't deserve this. Like they got their hit that they worked hard for. You shouldn't take it away from them.
Ridiculous. Well, that sucks, man.
Yeah. So I just wanted to update people on that, just in case if they were ever tapped into the controversy of the gaming world.
Hey, I saw something about it. Like I said, I saw an article. I just didn't read it. But I mean, I knew something was up.
Yeah.
I saw enough of the article that I was like, oh, why is this game out of all these countries? Thank you for informing me.
Now you know.
Now I know. Oof.
It's corporate executive.
Real buzzkill here on the
Fuckery.
show. Really bumming me out.
I know.
Ugh.
Fucking. We're not buzzkill in the
No.
dark. We're nerd
nerd
shit in the dark. Yeah,
We hype people up.
that's right.
I'll try to hype us back up.
Let's
my
hype us.
thing. Look,
Yeah, hype us back.
Still sucks, so.
Yeah.
I don't want to hype this up too much because I feel like I told some of my coworkers about this and I hyped it up too much, and I was like, Chase, you hyped it up way too much because it's not that good. It just had some really funny and good moments. But Miranda and I watched Knuckles, the Knuckles show on Paramount Plus.
How was that?
It was very charming.
Was it?
I really enjoyed it.
It looked
It's
charming.
6
I wanna check it out.
episodes. You should watch it. I think you should watch it.
So I didn't even know it was a series. I thought it was a movie.
Nope, it's a 6 episode, and it's like it's a kids show, so it's only like 30 minutes an episode.
Right.
Real easy to get through,
Knuckles is my favorite Sonic character.
and like it's great. It's still it's Idris Elba. If you liked Sonic 2, did you watch Sonic 2?
No.
You should watch Sonic 2 first, so you kind of get to know him in what they make
that
of
personality.
him.
Yeah.
Yes,
With Idris Elba
with
as
Idris
a
Elba,
voice.
who
Yeah.
he's great in that movie. Love him. So when I found out they were making a whole show about him, I was like, this should be fun. So it starts off, it's fine. It's just like the Sonic movies. Fine. You know what I mean?
Right.
Good, not bad.
So I think that's
funny
the thing.
in
I
ways.
watched
Kid humor.
Yeah, so I watched Sonic 1 and was like, that is an
Yeah.
okay movie.
Wholesome.
That's a wholesome, okay movie.
Wholesome.
I don't know. Like, I think I was never like a huge fan of Sonic. I played some of the games.
Love Sonic.
I like Sonic.
Yeah.
I was never like a huge fan. So like after seeing the movie, I wasn't like blown away.
Yeah.
To the point where
I
I
think
was
you'd like
like
the second one
I
a
need to
lot.
immediately see the second one. You know.
I wasn't blown away by the first one enough that I needed to immediately, but I love Sonic enough that Miranda and I, of course, saw the second one right
Right.
away. And I really, really like that one. I like them both, but they're full of, like, kid stuff, wholesome.
Yeah.
The jokes either land or they
But
don't.
it's modern.
But they don't hurt
it's modern
you if they
kid
don't.
humor. Yeah.
So this show kind of kicks off, and it has a lot of that for 3 episodes. Still good, though. Like, Miranda and I were just chipping at him. There's, goofy, dumb humor. Knuckles is great. Sonic and Tails are there at the beginning of the first episode.
Not a huge time investment, so you can just knock them out.
Right, so we're just, we're going through them. You're getting introduced to the villains, the story. The plot line kind of kicks off very, very interestingly. So, like, the basic premise of this is, like, Knuckles is trying to adapt to living on Earth, and he is, like, grounded because he, like, attacks people for, like, there's these people trying to, like, fix the house of the main, like, human characters. And he thinks they're attacking, so he fights them, and yada, yada, yada. He gets grounded, and then he has a vision, and like, from an Echidna ghost character that, like, tells him he needs to train somebody in the Echidna warrior ways.
Yeah.
And there's this character, Wade. He's, like, the goofy cop from the first movie.
Yeah.
And Knuckles takes him on as his apprentice, and, like, Wade wants to win a bowling tournament in Reno because his dad, who abandoned him, was a fantastic bowler. And so that's the basic premise. So, like, Knuckles wants to train him to be a warrior, and stuff happens. Like, chaos ensues.
Sounds very wholesome.
It's funny. And, like, the first episode ends with Knuckles getting captured by these, like, villains that are, like, Robotnik supporters, or, like, they have tech from Robotnik. Yeah. Jim Carrey's not in it, but, like, there is talk of things that happened in the last
Figured that would be too big of a blow to the budget to actually have Jim Carrey in
You got Idris Elba voicing Knuckles.
Right, you already got Idris Elba.
That's the budget.
Yeah.
And making Knuckles and all those characters look as good as they do, because it looks as good as the movies. And like I said, it's just some random shit. You get to know Wade's family and his... Let me stop right there. So a lot of the people who who have issues with the Sonic movies, not issues, but their issue with the movies is, I wish it had less human stuff. Right. The thing I really like about this show is it made the human stuff the best part of it.
That's hard to do in those kind of movies.
Like, because you like Wade, you like his family that you kind of get to know. And like I said, we watched 3 episodes. They were good. We were just like, yeah, let's watch another one. Let's watch another one. I will not go into any spoilers, but the 4th episode, I don't know what happened with the writing team and the creatives behind it, but all of a sudden they were like, let's get fucking weird. Let's get weird as balls for an episode.
I love when people get weird.
It was just out of nowhere. Miranda and I are just like, holy fuck.
Wow, this got amazing.
This is really funny. Like, nothing. There's still, like, lame jokes that happen throughout it, but, like, it's a musical themed episode. That's all I'll really say. And it just, like, completely, like, we already liked it, but then we were like we went from watching, like, an episode a day to just, like, we're finishing the show tonight.
Right.
Because then the 5th episode kind of hits, and it starts hitting, like, these heavy themes kind of based around this dad that abandoned Wade as a kid.
Oh, wow.
So it gets, like, really serious, and, like, the mom is there and she's involved. So, like, I remember Miranda got up at one point and went, like, what the fuck is this show? Knuckles is barely in the 4th or 5th, honestly, or the 6th episode. He's barely in them all, but his presence is known because, like, you're learning his backstory through this musical in the 4th episode, and it is just... And, like, it ends fine. Like, it's one of these shows that just, like, it just had to end, so they end it. But it was so good. Those last 3 episodes made it, like, doable to just, like, oh my god, this was such a good little show.
That seems so fun because I could imagine the writer's room where they're like, how do you write a story around Knuckles, the Sonic character? How do you make a compelling story around this character that most people are not familiar with? And even the people who are familiar with them, like, they're only going to expect, like, a specific thing.
Sure.
You got to get weird with it.
They got very weird.
You got to go
like,
weird with it.
Don't get me wrong. Sonic 2, not the first 3, they're still weird. Like, it's weird throughout, but it just got way weirder in the 4th episode, the point that I was just like, I feel like I'm watching a different show.
I'll have to check it out. I honestly did not know it was out already. Well, one, I didn't know it was out, and I didn't know it was a show and not a movie.
Yeah. I still say watch Sonic 2 because it kind of gives you the...
Yeah.
It's better to know Knuckles going into it than just being, like, introduced to him this way.
Right.
But, I mean, really liked it. Really liked it a lot. And like I said, there's a villain. There's, like, a main villain who just kind of gets shoehorned into the end. And it's just, like, whatever. Kind of, like, they needed a battle. But, like, the show had already done enough by that point that I was like, whatever. I don't even care. I was more concerned about what was going on in the bowling tournament. Than,
Right,
like,
the personal plot.
yes, which is crazy because, like, I agree. Like, the human stuff, I don't hate it. It doesn't take me out of the other two Sonic movies, but I'm just like, yeah, I want to see Sonic and, those characters more.
Right.
With this, I was just like, I fucking love these human
I'm down
characters.
for this human source.
This is great.
Do you think they could have cut Knuckles out of the show entirely and it would still be a good show? So Knuckles still enhances the stuff that's on the screen.
The things about 4 are good because it's like the human character is learning about Knuckles.
Right.
I don't want to say too much, but it's
You got me
pretty
intrigued.
good. It's pretty totally caught us off guard. I mean, like I said, we liked it enough in the first 3 episodes. It was fine for what it was. And then it just got fucking wild for an episode. And then the 5th one got so serious that we were just like, okay, let's just finish this tonight.
That's some of my favorite shit. When you can, like, do a show or a movie with, like, a certain kind of tone, but then, like, successfully transition it into a completely different tone all of a sudden.
And
make
works.
and make it work.
And make it better, yeah.
Be just like, whoa, this is like 2 different experiences.
Right, because like even as the 4th episode started, I was like, oh, we're not gonna get Knuckles like at all. I was a little bummed about it, and then I was just like, no, this is crazy good. I laughed out loud. Like a lot of the jokes throughout it, they were just like simple, like haha, or like, you laugh.
Right.
But man, I was howling during the 4th episode. I was straight up laughing. And it's cool because it makes me interested. I heard that they're talking about doing more shows like this with other Sonic characters. And Sonic 3 comes out this year. I'm pumped. Shadow's in it. Keanu Reeves is voicing Shadow. It's based on Sonic Adventure 2, which is like one of my favorite fucking Sonic games.
I feel like Keanu Reeves is a great get for Shadow.
Dude, when I heard that, I was like, beautiful. Yeah. And I hope to God when they say they're going to make more shows, I'm just like, if they don't make a Shadow show and the same idea that they made this Knuckles show.
They've made Shadow games.
Right, so they're definitely going to make a Shadow show.
Yeah.
We'll see, because I don't think the personality that Idris Elba gives Knuckles is the same one I ever gave him in any Sonic media, but I love it. So I wonder if they'll do the same with Shadow. I'm very curious.
It's bold and risky to do your own take on a character, but it can also work out really well if you know what you're doing.
Works out with Knuckles, I think, both in Sonic 2 and in this show.
I think where it also kind of worked out is Seth Rogen being Donkey Kong.
Okay, yeah.
Like, I feel like that was like a different take on the character.
Sure.
Like, I never imagined Donkey Kong having the voice of Seth Rogen and having that personality.
Worked for me.
But it worked for me when I saw it.
You could say that about the whole Mario movie. I mean,
honestly,
I was fine with Chris Pratt. And,
Charlie Day.
You'd like to believe when a director picks a voice actor, they know what they're doing.
Yeah.
And Keanu Reeves as Shadow, I'm just like, oh, dude.
He has
let's
the perfect,
fucking go.
I can just imagine his voice as Shadow.
Yeah.
Like, he just has the perfect, like, angsty voice for it.
Yeah.
Which is funny because, like, people who know Keanu Reeves from, like, his Bill and Ted days would never be like, oh, you can pull off Shadow. But people who know Keanu Reeves from his John Wick days.
Yeah, now we're like, give us... I don't know who else they could have got that I would have been as jazzed to hear about.
Honestly, no, I can't think of anyone else.
There was talks of, like, people thought it was going to be Hayden Christensen, like Anakin.
I would be fine with that.
I was interested.
Yeah.
But when I heard it was Keanu Reeves, I was like...
I would also love that, yeah.
Let's fucking go. Let's see what you got. So, I can't wait for Sonic 3, and I think this little snack that Paramount Plus gave us in the meantime, in the wait till December, was nice. It was because like I said, it's 6 30-minute episodes. It could have just been a movie. That's
honestly
like 3 hours maybe. Yeah, give it a watch. Pick at it. There's these dorky villains that are in it that are like, I compared them to Team Rocket. They're just like there. They do shit. They lose.
They're not very consequential.
Yeah, they're just there to be there to push some sort of...
give some kind of conflict, yeah.
Robotnik Knuckles storyline there, but like the bowling tournament thing...
The bowling tournament is what you should really check out in the Knuckles show.
It's great. It's really good. I can't say enough about it.
Well, if you can make a bowling tournament compelling,
yeah,
it's probably a good show.
Knuckles did that for me. You know what? I won't spoil it. I'll tell you off air. But there was something that happened during the bowling tournament that I was just like, oh my god, like that's what I mean. 4 and 5, episodes 4, 5, and even 6 had moments of just me being like, oh my god, how did they do like, how'd they get this? I don't want to blow it up too much. It's still like, as a show, like an 8. It like hits those 9s in like
every
moments.
once in a while. Yeah.
Where
you're like, this is genuinely great.
Yes, I truly believe that. So that's my new nerd shit for today's episode.
Well, awesome.
And you've had yours.
I've had mine.
So I think we'll do it this way. I think the best way for us to do it. Brayden and I are gonna hop off.
Did we say what we're doing?
We did say up top, but I'm just gonna reiterate because usually when we do In the Dark, we watch a movie, we come back, we watch a movie. I think we're just gonna watch both movies, and then we'll come back and give our whole Rebel Moon 1 and 2.
I agree with that. I think we should lump them together.
Yep, just do the whole thing, and
it's gonna be an experience watching them back to back.
I think so. We might take a minute to eat in between the two movies,
I'm sure we'll
take
breaks.
But we will talk about them all at once. So the next time you hear from me and Brayden, we will have lost our Rebel Moon virginity.
Yep.
And we'll
be Rebel Moon and you.
We'll see why Disney said to Zack Snyder, "No, we're not making these movies." But Netflix ate that up.
Yeah. We'll see why Disney was such a prick about these movies.
Yeah, we'll be like, Disney, what the hell's your deal? Ugh.
Why didn't you just make these movies? They're so good.
Zack Snyder, 300.
Zack Snyder always makes good movies. You just have to give him 4 hours.
Every time. Every time.
Every time.
All right. Okay, see you guys soon.
See you soon.
Ta-ta.
I love you.
My people, it is my duty as the head of this community to remind you that the gods of the harvest demand a tribute, an offering. But we all know it is the thrusting of hips and the loud sounds of pleasure that summon the seedlings to sprout. So make love tonight for the harvest, for the very food we eat. Yeah! For the gods! Let's have some music. Some music to get us in the mood.
All right, so Brayden and I just finished Rebel Moon Part 1.
And what a journey it was.
What's its like name? What's its title? Rebel Moon.
Rebel Moon Part 1.
The Child of Fire.
The Child of Fire.
The Child of Fire.
I believe so.
Okay. Yeah, no, that is. Well, this fucking dickhead drives around this town every fucking night.
We should murder him.
I would like to.
Probably.
Oh my God.
Do you want to plot it out on
the show?
On the show?
I'd put spikes down.
Yeah.
For a stupid fucking truck to hit.
We'll put wire across too,
just...
so maybe he'll like decapitate himself.
Oh God, dude, no! I want to see him. I want him to crash his car, and then I walk up to him, so I can be like, "Do you like being the loudest, most annoying motherfucker in this goddamn town?"
He probably
does.
does.
Saying a lot because there's a lot of them.
Yeah, he's competing with all the other ones to be the loudest.
So annoying. And then I finish. I'd use that fucking bone cane that the main villain in this has,
yeah.
And I'd just beat the fuck
that the
out
main
of
villain of the movie that we're about to talk about just had.
Who do you think the Child of Fire is?
That is, Chase. That is a great question. The Child of Fire, I would assume, would be the main character, whose name is
Korra.
Korra, correct. Which I knew that as well.
There was a point in the movie where, do you remember the part where we were watching it, and I turned to you with like a face. I didn't say anything, but I just did a couple looks.
I do, yeah.
I was gonna say, what's the main character's name? And then I remembered it.
I forgot several times.
I'll tell you what, dude. I only remember it because I know Legend of Korra, so Korra's just a name that kind of stands out.
And I will be honest with you, any other character in this movie, I probably will not remember the name of.
No,
so I apologize ahead of time.
That was what I was gonna say next. Do you know anybody else's name?
No.
This is harsh.
Names that I know them by the names that I gave them.
Sure, yeah.
I don't know them by the names that they're actually called.
No. Exactly. So, everyone, you're kind of getting the vibe of how we felt about this movie.
Yeah.
But I do want to start up top with things that I did like about it,
Sure.
because I will say this, it's a movie that gets worse as it goes on, right?
I would very much agree with that.
It didn't start horribly unstrong.
I was kind of into it in the beginning.
The beginning had a great opening. Like, okay, the opening wasn't good because remember I made the joke about how the movie better be damn good to make, like, because it's like a context dump or a not a context but
a lore dump,
an exposition dump,
exposition
and a lore dump, and then I don't know, it just started so, and then Rebel Moon, the way it like came up, it started very strange, and I was like, ooh, this movie better be really good. And it kind of started off not bad.
Yeah.
The first, like I said, Miranda and I had watched an hour of it, so I didn't get why everybody was bitching. But it's because everything after that, in my opinion, just gets weaker and weaker.
So that's the thing. Like, it's hard to, like, completely hate the movie because there wasn't anything about it that, like, at least from what I could pin down, that I really hated.
Yeah.
But just the way it was set up, the way it was structured, I just feel like it could have been a lot better.
It feels wrong.
Yeah.
Right. There's not
just things that
I hate about it.
There's just things that don't feel well done about it.
Yeah. Yeah. A lot. It's like it put a lot of detail. So, once again, the things I liked. I thought the whole opening scene where you're seeing the farm or the farm village, and the Nazi comes in, and he's getting to know the king or whatever. Like, it's a really tense scene.
Yeah.
It takes a lot of time, and I think it paid off really. Like, he kills the king. Like, you think he's gonna kill Andor, he doesn't kill Andor.
Yeah.
He kills the king.
Cassian Andor is in this movie. Yeah.
And I don't know. I was really into it there. I was like, oh, this is pretty decent. Like, is there some stupidness here? Sure, but it's good enough. And I just think if they would have put as much detail into a lot of other things later in the movie as they did in that one scene, it would have been a lot better of a movie.
Yeah, I think they should have put a lot more into characterization and a lot more into just, like, character building scenes. Because I feel like this entire movie was, like, plot driven. Every scene was, like, propelling the plot forward, which is typically what you want, but there was no characterization on the, like, besides the amount that you get when you first are introduced to a character. So it kind of felt like a video game almost, where, like, you recruit a new character and then they're just kind of in your party and they don't say anything until their quest line comes up and then they say something, but, like, otherwise they're, like, inactive throughout the story. That's how I kind of felt about, like, like, all these, like, characters that they're introduced, because, like, I genuinely think, like, every character that was in this film could be very interesting and compelling if they just
never get to know them.
Yeah, if you just spent more time on them, gave them more moments to, like, stand out and, like, do things that they're special at, because that was kind of the whole thing. Is it's like a team building movie where, like, you're finding heroes across the galaxy that can, like, help you stand up against this evil empire.
And in the final battle, they don't really do any of the things. I mean, they kind of do.
They, like, fight back,
really
but, like,
quick.
None of them do anything special or, like, distinguishing.
Kind of seems like it's lucky that they're the only ones that are alive at the end of the final battle.
Yeah.
Like, everybody else died except for them.
Well, that was another thing. And, like, it's kind of like the storytelling aspect of this movie where, like, things happen because the plot needed them to happen. Characters were suddenly okay with things to happen because the plot needed that thing to happen.
Dude, I mean, that's because, like, we'll be straight. There was a lot of in the middle of this movie where Braden and I couldn't help but make jokes and talked.
Yeah.
And we probably did miss some stuff, but I mean, it was constantly like we would start sort of talking when they would go to recruit somebody and the person being recruited didn't want to be recruited at first. And then within moments, it was like, oh yeah, they
within the same scene.
They
it
agreed
happens,
to come.
yeah.
Yeah. And nothing ever seemed. All somebody had to do was give, like, a speech,
Right.
like a semi.
Some kind of milquetoast speech of how we should all defend this rebel planet. I guess we didn't
farm planet.
I guess we didn't really go over the plot of the movie.
We just jumped. I went like, let's talk about the good things, and it went straight to us shitting on it. But yeah. Do the plot.
Yeah,
you do the plot.
Essentially, the plot of the movie is that there's this evil empire, a la Star Wars, that rules over the galaxy.
God. What are they called again?
I don't know.
I forgot.
The Imperials.
No. I don't even think the motherland.
The mother world.
The mother world?
The mother world.
Is that it?
Yes.
Okay.
So it's like this Imperial Empire.
That doesn't feel right. But
No, yeah, but the Imperial Empire started, this galactic empire, but they're fascist and oppressed planets. And there's a rebellion brewing, but it hasn't happened yet, I guess.
I think it has. I think it sort
Or
of
has happened yet?
It's they're at least there's rebellious activity, whether it's like I think now it's a full-fledged
There's insurgency going on.
Sure.
Yeah.
Oh,
But I
boy.
guess the main character of the movie, Korra, is starting out on this farm planet that is, for the most part untouched by the war, but then suddenly the Empire shows up and sends their troops down and says, hey, you have to give us 10,000 bushels of grain to feed our armies as we're conquering other planets. And this moon,
And I think they're looking for the rebels.
they're looking for rebels
Yeah.
as well. Yeah, they also believe that there's rebels in the area. But they say, like, hey, give us 10,000 bushels of grain to feed our armies. And the one guy, Cassian Andor, who's in this movie, is like, but we produce only 12,000 bushels of grain a year. If we give you 10,000 bushels of grain, we'll starve. And the guy's like, well, tough luck, bitch. Like, give us 10,000 bushels of grain. And he murders the king of the land there and leaves a garrison of troops to harass and, I guess, rape everyone to keep them in line.
Yeah.
And that's essentially what kicks us off. Like, there's this occupation.
There's a really good. I don't even know, man. The movie, it feels disjointed to me. Like it sets it. Everything you just described is just the first 40 minutes of the movie. You know what I mean?
Right.
And then
The rest of the movie is something kind of different.
and
but
it just kind of the rest of the movie just kind of happens. I think the recruiting goes on too long. Like everything takes too long, but I feel like there wasn't enough.
Yeah.
And that's what's wrong with this movie.
yeah. Essentially,
When we got to the final battle, I didn't even think it was the final battle until
No.
I was like, there's 30 minutes left. I think this is it.
yeah, essentially they rise up against the occupation and kill a few people, and then they have to be aware of the incoming invasion that they're going to experience because they killed the occupying troops. And so they have to find a bunch of heroes throughout the galaxy to help them fight off the Empire.
And to what amount, I don't really know, because it seems like they're just defending the farm planet area.
Right.
But do they want to take... Because, okay, so the mother world, or the mother whatever, home mother, have they always been evil? Because that's another thing I didn't quite get, was okay, so the old king, he got assassinated.
Right.
But she was certainly a Nazi under that old king. But was that old king bad? And then his daughter was I
feel like he was-
She could bring people back to life.
I feel like the old king was also bad and a Nazi, but they are saying his daughter can
change us.
change the empire because she's gentle and sweet.
Right. So even the old king was like, we are dicks though.
Right.
But
He's
I am a dick
We're pretty
too.
bad. I ordered a lot of death.
And I think because of that, the king got assassinated. I don't know if we're supposed to know why until maybe the next movie.
Yeah.
I just don't know. That's another thing with this movie. I just don't know.
That's the thing. There is a lot of exposition and lore dump, but I also feel like I don't know anything about this universe.
Yeah.
That's all I can say.
What kind of notes did you take?
So the first note I took, I wrote down vagina question mark
Yeah.
warp point.
Yeah, the vagina warp.
There's a vagina
That was
warp
right
point
at the start,
at the
too.
very beginning of the movie. It's kind of egregious. It's the first thing I noticed about this movie in general was that
It's one of the first things you see.
one of the first shots you see is a ship coming through a warp point, but the warp point looks suspiciously very like a vagina.
Like a kid's drawing of a vagina.
Like a kid's
Or
drawing of a vagina.
Any person, if you were like, draw a
like-
vagina real quick.
Like, I don't. Am I being juvenile here? Am I being like immature and thinking that like that looks like a vagina?
I mean, as soon as you said it, I was like, yeah. I don't know.
Were you not like that? That doesn't look like a vagina.
No, I was like, yeah, it looks like a vagina.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know. We could poke fun at Zack Snyder and be bullies about it.
Yeah,
but
it's
we're
nothing.
just saying what it looks like.
It's
I don't know if it's
nothing-
juvenile to say that it was a vagina. That
Yeah,
was a vagina.
It's not an issue. I'm not saying it's an issue or
I
anything.
forgot about
it's
it,
just
actually.
a comment. It's just a comment. It's one of the first things I noticed about this movie is that the waypoint looks like a vagina.
Yeah.
And I hope other people
Saw that.
agree with me and saw that, so I don't feel dumb thinking that.
Yeah. Or like a teenager.
Yeah.
But I mean, yeah.
Oh, the second note I had
Yeah.
was I like the planet shots.
Okay.
I thought the shot
Yeah.
where she was farming on the one farming planet
Mm-hmm.
that they're defending.
They tell you, but I don't remember.
Yeah, I don't remember what
You
it's
gotta
called.
read it.
But like it's like next to other planets or whatever that are like super close to it. So like her nighttime sky is just like a
yeah,
giant
yeah.
picture of a planet. Like they're
Of
like
other
super
planets.
close to like think of like if Earth was right next to Jupiter
Yeah.
and like you could just see all of Jupiter at night.
Yeah.
That's like what her scene looked like. I thought that looked cool.
okay.
So
There's
that was like
lot
a
of-
thing I liked about it.
There are a lot of
Yeah.
visually. Cannot say anything looked bad.
No,
Visually.
it's not a bad looking movie. It's a very
It's
like
everything else.
yeah, it's like aesthetically, I think the movie really nails it. It's yeah, like you said, everything else like I don't know. The story could be good if it was reworked a lot.
Yeah. It's like I know there's a director's cut coming, and I know there's probably more, and he's changed things around. But by the end of the movie, I was just like, "What are you doing? What do you do to this to make
Yeah.
it better?"
Well, it's almost like Zack Snyder just like make a good movie the first time.
Yeah, yeah. I don't understand, and I don't know if I'd care to watch unless I heard the extended editions are like really good. I just wouldn't care. Like we're gonna watch this next movie because I'm curious to see what happens.
Yeah.
But I'm just like, am I curious to see what happens? Because do I really know what the fuck is happening?
I think the biggest problem is I just don't really care about any of the characters. Like, and it's not because like I think they're bad characters. I just
Yeah.
think I don't know anything about them.
And if you add more of that to into a movie, it does that help? Because then it's just like really long. The movie feels really long already,
Right.
and we're missing character.
Just, yeah, I feel like
Everybody's a caricature.
Yeah, there's definitely things can be cut and things could be added. I think you need more characterization because like I also feel like they all kind of act the same way. They're all kind of serious and stoic and are zeroed in on the same goal. Like we don't know any distinguishing character traits from any of them beyond like their looks. Like they all look different.
And like one, like we know that the sword lady had like children that got killed.
Right. We
know like a
s-
little, but we know
about their
the
motivations.
We know the one dude that's in Guardians of the Galaxy and Shazam. We know that he used to be a general.
Right. But even
No longer though.
speaking of Guardians of the Galaxy, even like if we compare this to Guardians of the Galaxy, all of the members of the Guardians of the Galaxy have distinguishing features and moments throughout the movie where we can be like, oh, that's like a cool thing that they can do. I feel like they don't get any of that throughout here. Like they all kind of do the same things, even when they like are doing stuff. Because like it's not like to say they don't do stuff, but like even when they're doing stuff, it's not like super highlighted or like super unique to their character. It's just like what every character is doing.
It feels like a rough draft come to life.
It does. I was gonna say it feels like
Yeah.
a high schooler's screenplay, kind of.
Yes.
Like
I was gonna also say it sounds like something I would have made up in my head in high school.
right, right, like something like a big grand cool idea, but it's just like the execution.
No meat.
No
Just the
meat to it.
bones.
Yeah, there's just like not the extra.
And I'm
oomph
not
there.
saying that like Zack's idea is like that, but it's just the way this movie was implemented
Yes.
feels that way.
Yeah, like I just
Yeah.
like there's so much happening, but I struggled so much to pay attention
Yeah.
to what was going on.
Because it's not like after that first hour, after the fight, after the rape save, it stops being like entertaining even.
Yeah.
Yeah, because like that stuff was like that felt the most character-y. You know what I mean? We knew enough about the Scargiver that in the scenes when the Empire shows up, we know enough about her. She's become one with this community. She's not from the community. She has friends amongst the community. The girl that's getting raped, you're like, we know her
Right.
because she's friends with the main character. And then they just give that all up though after that because you're into the fight scene. You know, you see the droid come in and cap the dude, and you're like, well, he capped that dude because he made friends with that girl she was gonna rape. It's like it was all there, and then it was just like, okay, now we got to get through the rest of this movie.
Yeah.
And it's like I said, it gets that final battle, and I'm just like, whoa, I didn't even think we were like encroaching a final battle yet. I felt like we just got the gang together.
Yeah. Maybe it's because it's a part 1. It should still be a movie.
Well, that's the
like,
thing, though, too. Sorry, but it's like, even though it is a part 1, it has a finite ending. They go back to the farm
it should
planet
still
by the
feel
end
like
of
a
it.
complete movie, and it should still feel like you can watch this movie by itself and still feel like you came away with a piece of a story at least. But I feel like this, it's just like it was all built up, and then there wasn't like a big.
And then it ends 3 times. There's 3 closing shots.
And not to say, like, even we know the final battle was like inconsequential. Like the main bad guy survives it and is gonna like come back.
How or why? I have no idea. I did not get any of that. I'm like, is he a cyborg? I don't know if he's a cyborg. What the fuck was that?
Some weird
whole
future
end
tech
scene?
or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah, some maybe of abilities. Maybe they went to a certain.
Yeah, maybe he's
when he was
some
cracking
kind
the
of
things.
special
I was
breeding
thinking of force
program.
lightning. I don't know.
Yeah.
I have no idea.
But yeah, there's a lot of things that need fleshed out with the universe, but at the same
with
time,
the film. But at the same time, I don't want to watch it any longer.
Yeah, at the same time, I was also like making fun of it for the exposition. That's one of the other things I said was like ham-fisted exposition.
Oh my god!
It felt like a video game where like you're choosing options to hear the dialogue options of like what these characters were gonna say about like the lore of their species.
Yeah.
Like I felt that especially with the robot scenes, which I will say, I was interested in the robot story.
Yeah, there wasn't enough of him. And what the fuck was going on with him in the second closing scene of the movie?
Right.
The second of 3. He just has like a crown.
That would have been a
Is he
more
the king?
interesting movie if he was.
I don't know.
Yeah.
No, he couldn't be. I don't know.
We'll find out.
I guess so. I hope so.
Yeah.
But like, yeah, he's barely in the movie. But you're right. Everybody has like, but not everybody. It's just Korra and him, and they just dump exposition randomly, and like she's talking to Andor, she's telling her life story, and then parts of the movie go by, and then she starts telling more of her life story, and I'm just like, why wouldn't the first part of hearing that story make a guy go, well, why aren't you a Nazi anymore? And she would then continue to explain.
Right.
It's just so weird.
It's just
and she
just
still
kept
really
going into
hasn't.
it.
She still really hasn't said why she specifically got the fuck out.
Yeah, and like it is sci-fi, and like it doesn't have to feel real. Like these don't have to feel like real people. But at the same time, I would appreciate a little bit of organicness, where it just felt like if this wasn't a movie where the character's just giving their backstory now.
If we're gonna take time to go collect these motherfuckers, I want to know something about them, but don't just have a character tell me who they are.
Right, and then do nothing with them after that.
Yeah.
Where they could have like done like I thought all the characters that they introduced had a lot of potential to be really interesting, but
Yeah.
like they could have had them do specific actions in line with like what their character would do.
There was that part near the end where the Conan the Barbarian looking motherfucker looked and was like, and Andor was just like, yeah, I didn't trust that bearded pirate or bounty hunter either.
Right.
And it was just like,
Why didn't you fucking say so?
But at the same time, did you not? I never knew.
We could not tell.
That
yeah.
was his first line after we met him.
Well,
an hour later.
They all
And it was
join
just
up.
like, did you?
They all join up with each other, but we rarely see any scenes of them interacting with each other or actually talking to each other or forming any kind of like rapport or relationship.
Yeah.
So like as far as we know, they're all NPCs
They're
that are
just
just
in the
standing.
ship,
They're
just like-
standing in the background waiting for
Well, that's the thing.
to fight something.
I think I don't even know what I'm trying to say with this point that I'm going to make, but when you called the movie out at the one point for the twist that did happen, when you were
Yeah.
like, because it's Korra and the Irish guy having a conversation. They're having a moment,
Right.
and you were like, I just don't feel like this feels real.
Yeah.
Like, wow, like that they have this relationship or
Right, because
anything.
I've never seen it.
Right. And then he turned on them, and it was like, oh, it's because you were supposed to feel that way, I guess. Maybe.
Maybe. Possibly. That's what their intention
They
was.
were the only two side, like, her and him being one of the people they recruited on the way. He was the only one that got a one-on-one dialogue conversation with main character Korra.
That's the thing, too. Like, I also don't feel... Like, I feel like I would
Other
feel
than
that
Andor.
with her with any other character, where I don't feel like she's earned any of their trust, because I haven't seen her interact with them or do anything with them or have any kind of relationship with them.
Yeah. I mean, maybe now that they've won this big random battle that just... I don't even like, it seemed like, I guess, the Rebel Alliance. That's the thing. When I thought that there was going to be a double, like a triple cross at the end, that would have made more sense to me than just like, oh, they just got jumped, but they're going to fucking win this whole thing.
Yeah.
Like, Andor, after he shot what's-his-face in the fucking head, after he turned around from shooting Korra in the head and shot the other guy, in that swoop, he was like, this is either going to go really well or I'm going to die immediately. And thank God it went to the point where a whole war broke out.
Right.
That they
It just
won.
went really well, like, miraculously well, and most of them came out of it.
Them guys, the whole Rebel Alliance fucking died, maybe?
Right.
That
Right.
whole legion, that whole fleet?
Besides one chick.
Yeah, one very angry, very dramatic girl.
Which I guess she'll be another member of the party that we don't
Maybe.
know anything about.
Maybe. And that's the thing, like, do I want to get to know the other characters more? I
would,
guess.
I would like to get to know them.
But I feel like it's a little too late
It's-
already.
That's the thing. It's just like we're 50% of the way through this franchise.
I'd have to see, like, how long is Zack going to make these extended cuts? Because it's like, this might work better as a television show then, so we're not watching a fucking long movie to get to know characters.
I think this could work great as a television show.
If you add in the additional things we've talked about, more layers to everybody's backstory, instead of just like they find the slave guy, he flies the griffin and he's with them.
And
you
then
make a whole episode
Yeah.
out of that.
Yeah.
Somehow.
And you make them distinguishing beyond just their looks. Because, like, visually they all look different.
Yeah.
But, like,
They all have
what their-
different like things.
what their characters did,
Yeah.
I can't say that they really distinguished themselves that
What
much.
is so great? Okay, so Griffin Rider guy, he rides a Griffin, but that's
Right.
not what he's doing for the Alliance. What is his ability?
Right, what does he do? Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
He doesn't have any armor. He just
shirtless,
fights.
Yeah.
He's just like a foot soldier.
Yeah, he looks like fucking Taylor Lautner in the first Twilight movie.
Right.
So I don't know.
Riding a griffin is useful.
Yeah, if the
He didn't-
Griffin's there.
He didn't bring the griffin with him,
Sure
though, did he?
didn't.
No, he
Sure
left
didn't.
it to the fucking
He
slave
leaves it-
masters.
oh my god, this guy has this whole scene where he like bonds with this Griffin to ride the Griffin, and then he gives it to them. Like he gives it back to the slave owners once he's free. And I mean, the Griffin kills the slave owner.
And he's like, good girl.
Yeah.
And we're like, and then he leaves.
And I honestly didn't think the slave owner guy was all that bad. But now that I know that the guy that he knew actually turned out to be bad, this sounds like a mess to anybody who doesn't know this fucking movie.
Right.
But it's the best way I can say my thoughts when it comes to this.
Well, my thing is, they didn't go back to get the griffin. They just let the griffin kill the slave master and then just leave it there.
I would assume the rest of the people there who work for that guy would probably kill that Griffin.
I would assume that they would just put the griffin
Probably
down.
didn't. Maybe didn't. Don't know.
Because
Moving on.
it didn't show the griffin escaping. I would have taken that.
It cut to them flying it cut immediately to like the next.
Yeah.
That's the thing. I didn't
It's
even
like,
know we
don't
were
worry
going
about
to
it.
get more people at first. Like, it bobbed and weaved fine because like they found the characters kind of nicely and neatly along the way to where they were heading anyways.
Right.
But fuck. It just felt wrong. I'm telling you, when it got to that
Felt
final
rushed. And,
battle, it felt rushed and long all at once.
Yeah. It's a weird combination. I
And
wish
not
it would
to
have been
mention
better.
all the slow motion, which is fine. I don't hate it, but it can be overdone. There was a point in the movie. It was when the guy flew the Griffin over Cora's head, and it slow mode.
That's
on her.
where we both looked at each other and we were like, that was too much.
That was
Yeah.
too much.
That
Even
was
for this
excessive.
scene.
That was excessive.
Excessive slow mo. Excessive, like I think that was supposed to be symbolism, or maybe even pushing the main character.
Yeah,
It was
something like
too
that.
much of a lot of things.
But it was like, I don't care about, like, you still have yet to make me really care about these people.
even the main character, Cora.
Yeah, I was like, I
what I
still
know
don't care
about,
about her.
the more I know about her, the less I like her. She
Right.
used to be a
I'm
fucking super
Nazi.
Nazi.
She used to be a super Nazi, a space Nazi, an uber Nazi. That's what she used to be. That's our main character.
Except, yeah, I bet, but she's regretful of it now.
She's
but we
very
don't
regretful of it.
know why.
Right.
Which I'm sure you get. The next movie's called The Scargiver. She is. They keep calling her the Scargiver, so that's her. She's the
Yeah.
Scargiver. So the Child of Fire, no fucking clue. Was it that little girl that could bring things back to life?
Possibly.
With
That was
light
another
magic?
plot point that was kind of just like,
There's
whatever.
some sort of magical ability, but we don't really dive into it.
Is it about this? We don't really know.
Yeah, twists happen, and I think they're only a twist because you were just like, oh, I didn't know this was even possible. You know?
Right. Yeah, I didn't see this coming because I just didn't know it was possible.
You got any more notes?
Farming will save us.
Yeah, Braden and I made up an entire other movie that takes place during this movie.
We had an alternate reality movie where, well, there is one point in the
It's not
actual
even alternate reality. It could actually be happening
like
in the
there
movie.
is one point in the actual movie where they're like, we're farmers, like that's the best thing we can do. They don't know how to do that, like they can't do that, like we'll show them how great of people we are and how valuable they are to, like we are to you, by like farming.
We're gonna be so good at farming that you won't kill us.
You
all.
won't murder us all and take
Yeah.
over our planet. And that's what spurred me to write farming will save us.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like that. Like I just thought that would be a funny alternate ending to the movie where like instead of like trying to fight them off, they're just like, we're just gonna like heavily invest in farming
Yeah.
infrastructure.
Yeah,
And
the movie's actually called Rebel Moon because it's based around Harvest Moon,
Right.
Where they're just
It's just like
farming.
they just farm
They
their-
just farm.
their little
Yeah,
their little
to
brains
save
out.
themselves.
Yeah.
Their little brains. Till it saves them, and then Braden and I mean, and that's the thing. Those characters that are discussing that, I mean, that is the plan for this farm village. While Cassie and
While
Andor,
they're trying to like mount a rebellion,
Right.
the
But
people
the
who are left
farmers-
in the village are like, we gotta do something.
we're gonna farm.
We're gonna
like,
farm our
fucking
living
crazy
daylights out. Yeah,
farm your brains out.
we're gonna farm our brains out right now.
So we like to think that there's a side movie where it's
But
just
they just
it's
farmed
just the characters farming
their way
and,
out
like,
of that situation.
and you could build on those characters,
Right.
Like there could be relationships with them as they're trying to survive, and the rebellion happens around them. I think we could make a
And then it's
better
like,
movie.
Whoa, this is
based
so
on the
crazy. Like, yeah, it was,
Yeah.
like, it's a good
Yeah.
thing we have all this food to wait out this civil war
That's
from-
happening around us.
Right from all the
Oh yeah,
farming.
that's a much better movie. I mean,
Yeah,
you
I
get to
think
know some
so.
of the characters in the town.
I agree.
The droid is there clearly. He's working.
The droid
the
is
fields.
there.
So I don't know.
Boy, I wish the droid was in this more.
I think he's in the next one where he's definitely in. Like,
I'm sure that's where they're leading to.
Yeah.
But that was the part I was interested in the most, was
Yeah.
the droid.
Yeah, and he disappeared pretty quick.
Pretty quickly.
Pretty quickly.
I like AI stuff in any kind of sci-fi
yeah.
setting.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Like we
People-
said,
how people deal with that.
droids are dope. Droids are dope. What do you got? Any other notes?
Last note I had was suit and tie?
Oh, suit and tie.
Question mark? Yeah, the main Nazi villain, he goes throughout most of the movie looking like a Nazi, like
Nazi as fuck.
General
Space
S-
Nazi as
yeah,
fuck.
spa-
Though.
General, like-
Everything's spacey.
space SS officer type looking dude for a good
Looks
bit
like
of the
Mass
movie.
Effect. Everybody.
And then like randomly near like the third act, he just switches to a generic white suit.
White collar suit,
Well, not even a suit. He's just in a white collared,
white button up. Yeah.
white collared button up T-shirt with a black tie.
Yeah.
Like it's a formal T-shirt with no blazer. And he just keeps that look throughout the rest of the movie. Like
Yeah.
throughout the final act, he's defeated
Yeah, I guess you're right. I didn't even think about it.
in that look
Yeah. Yeah, he comes to the final battle just like
with no explanation, no reason why the wardrobe changed. I guess I thought that would just look snazzy, you know.
it's a style, I suppose. It's just not the one that really fit. And then he fought with like a stick. I was just like, man, we're in
Yeah.
this future world. This guy's in a fucking white shirt and tie, and a stick is his weapon.
Yeah.
I don't know.
That being said, there were lightsabers in this,
There-
but
yeah.
they weren't as prominent as I thought they would
I
be.
thought we'd see a lot more.
I thought we would see
there wasn't a
way
lightsaber
more of that.
battle.
There was.
Was there?
There was not.
Yeah, I know there was.
There was not, no.
Yeah, I know. I mean, people used them, but no two people fought against each other.
No, they weren't as common of a weapon as I thought they would be.
Yeah, I hope in the next one they are.
Right.
I've heard the next one's worse though, so I'm just like, fuck.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm like,
Damn.
oh my god. So no one going into it, knowing, okay. When we started this, we were like, maybe we will like it.
Yeah.
But now we're like, well, this one's not that good.
No. I would.
There were things
say,
we liked about it.
and I
but
was
it's-
trying to like
we
it. Like
tried
you
hard.
heard me beforehand. I was being honest. I was trying to like this movie.
And
I did write some positive things about it. I did find some positive things I did enjoy about this movie. I don't think it's the worst thing I've ever seen.
Yeah.
But boy,
It just noticeably gets worse.
it's not that great.
It
Yeah.
just, like it's one of those things. It blue balls you because it starts pretty decent enough that you could be like, all right, and then it just falls apart on itself till the very end, until it's over, and
Yeah.
it ends 3 times.
And you're like, okay, cool.
There's a closing out shot where they're all standing at the end of the battlefield, and you think, oh, the credits, and then they're on the farm, and then there's a closing out shot of them being on the farm, and it shows the droid with like a crown on his head. You're like, oh,
And
the
it
movie's
could-
over.
It could have ended there. It
could have ended there.
And I
And
would have
then
been fine. And
I think if
really-
the other movie picked up with like what happened at the end of this one, it might be more interesting, but I don't know.
Yeah.
I didn't know her dad like grew a beard and became like an even bigger big wig.
Yeah.
So that was like a crazy reveal. I bet he's the guy that killed the king. I don't fucking know.
That's the thing. Like
Maybe she killed the king. I don't know. That's my guess.
That's the thing. Like, I appreciate the passion it took to make this movie. Like, it appears that like there's a lot of work put into this movie. It's just not that
Yeah,
good.
for the VFX team.
Yeah, it's just not that good. Like,
No.
and I can't pinpoint exactly why. I mean, writing, definitely. The writing is not great.
Yeah, but
Editing, also not fantastic.
I guess I don't know. I don't know.
It's hard to follow at
It's-
points.
It is hard to follow. It jumps around a lot.
It jumps around a lot. There's a lot of different things going on, but at the same time, like
Nothing-
they don't really affect each other, so like nothing really happens. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, that's a good way. I was gonna say nothing makes you as the viewer feel anything toward what you're watching
Right.
happen.
Like,
It's
this
just
matters, yeah.
happening, and you're watching a movie, and you're watching the story get to the next point, but you are not feeling a
You're
damn
very
thing
aware
about
that
it.
this is a movie that needs to like get from A to B, you know. That's all the characters are doing, are getting from A to B. There's not necessarily any logic behind it. Like, if characters suddenly change their minds over things, like, that's because they need to, because we need to move on.
Yeah, I mean one of the better parts of the movie. I mean the twist with the Robin Hood guy being evil. I seriously sat up and I was like, no way.
Oh, it's a good twist.
I didn't see it coming.
Especially because that actor, like, we've only seen
yeah.
him as a good guy and
Yeah,
other
yeah, yeah.
things.
So that was like bummer. But
Right.
so I felt something there because I liked him. I don't know why though, because I think it's because I know the actor. Not
It's
because
because
of
you
what
know
he
the
did in the
actor,
movie.
yeah.
Yeah. And he had an accent maybe.
But yeah, he apparently almost fucks the rest of them. Like, almost nearly kills them all. But they end up coming out on top.
He gets fucking domed.
And he gets tomed the fuck out.
But other than that, nothing in the movie made me after the first like hour made me feel anything.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was kind of interested when the robot was telling the story of their people. And
That's
then
another thing too, though. Anthony Hopkins can make anything sound really fucking cool
Yeah.
and make you want to
Yeah.
listen to more.
Yeah, and then they like did not use the robot ever.
He shot a guy in the head and left.
He shot a guy and left, yeah.
We can't stop talking about this first movie before we talk about the way the Nazis are just represented at the beginning of the movie as just fucking awful. Like, it's
Yeah.
like, this is where Zack Snyder shows and doesn't tell. Because he basically tells you by showing you. It's like, these guys are just the worst fucking dudes.
They're
You know,
douchebag.
We're the
There's
Empire,
no
and we are the worst people, and you should
nuance
hate
here
us.
whatsoever. Like, you need to, like, the first thing I said when like they first showed up on screen was like, "You're the fucking Nazis," because it was just they just look like fucking Nazis.
Like, they look like Nazis. They act like
They just have the shit
Nazi crazy
The main guy,
people.
the fucking Cillian Murphy looking dude, he's very gaunt And
Yeah.
his face looks like a skull.
Yeah.
He just looks evil
Yeah.
as a person.
But even those ones just on the ground, like they are just talking about how they're gonna take this fucking town. They're gonna rape that
We're just
girl.
gonna rape everyone.
They shoot the droid. They're
We're
just
gonna
douches. And
we're
there's
just
like
gonna
one
randomly
guy
shoot
that's
the
like,
droid. We're just gonna antagonize people.
yeah, I love that they were like, we'll make one of the Imperial guys kind of stand up against them, so like you can see not everybody in
Yeah,
the
not
Empire,
everyone's bad.
but it's
This
just
one
like
he was
everybody's
just-
so pretty bad. This one guy does
Right.
not save it.
Yeah, I won't blame them if they all were just killed.
No. So that was interesting.
Yeah, and that's where it came in. Like, it felt like a high schooler wrote it almost, where it's just like, yeah, these people are like, well, how do you
Overly
show
evil.
these people are bad? Like, we'll just show them.
We'll have a rape.
Yeah, just raping people, antagonizing people for no reason, right off the bat. When there's only like
It worked, I guess.
I would get it if it was like 5,000 of them. There's
Yeah.
like 30 dudes that they dropped off at that planet.
Yeah.
They're like, you're the garrison of this planet.
Yeah. Listen to us.
Yeah.
And, well, that's what happened. They got killed.
Yep.
They got killed by basically one bitch
One person.
and a droid to, bring the dessert. I do like when we were writing the farming simulator. It was also where we did the thing where like they killed all the Nazis, so they were like, "Oh fuck! Now we gotta farm even harder to make up for all these." Like they're gonna be real mad when they find out we killed all their guys. We gotta really farm. Like, we gotta farm like crazy.
Like they're gonna, like something come. They're gonna come and be like, "You killed 30 of our Nazis, but you created 20,000 bushels of grain, so we're gonna forgive you."
We'll just grow more. We'll just make little Nazi scarecrows out of this extra
It's
grain.
the only solution.
Oh my god. So yeah, I think that's good. I think that's a good place to stop with
I
Rebel
agree.
Moon Part 1.
Rebel Moon Part 1. One of the best movies I've ever seen, honestly.
If you couldn't tell by everything we just said over
Right.
the past half hour, yeah, we really like this one. There's good things in it. They just weren't. The execution is not good.
I agree.
I think it would make a better book.
I'm mad that it's not better.
Yeah. But I also see why it's not. So
Yep.
we'll check out this second one. I doubt we'll change our mind on the first one. Maybe,
I doubt the second one will be better.
I hope we just have different things to say.
I hope so. I hope it's not the same.
Yeah. I doubt it is. But we'll see.
We'll see.
All right, shitters. We'll be right back.
Yep.
All right, everyone. Braden and I just wrapped up Rebel Moon Part 2, The Scargiver. And, got a little late, so Braden actually had to get stepping. So I'm going to just give you my review of Rebel Moon Part 2. And Braden, when he comes on for the next episode, we'll start up top, and he and I will, share our thoughts on it together, which maybe we'll share, maybe they're a little different. We really didn't have much time to talk about it. Also up top, I just want to say, while we were watching Rebel Moon Part 2, Sony announced that they are changing their mind on all that stuff that was going on with Helldivers 2. So, yeah, everything we said earlier about that, don't even fucking think about it because it's changed now. So, fun information. We got to watch the whole story kind of play out right on this show if you didn't know anything about it beforehand. But, yeah, don't know what's going to go from there, but as of right now, we know that they changed their mind. With that out of the way, let's dive into Rebel Moon Part 2, The Scargiver. Yeah. This one's a weird one, just like the last one, but I'm not going to ramble on too much about it until Braden's on with me. But I took some notes just to be ready for this. First of all, now that I've watched both movies, it's very strange. It's like there are parts of both movies that I actually really like, and I think if you trim both movies need more, but also need less. And I don't really know what... Like, I could go beat for beat what that all means, but, like, if anybody has seen the movie, you'd kind of get it. And maybe if you watch it, you can feel that, too. Like, I don't want them to be longer, but I think there's a cut of this movie and the last movie, both movies, to be one solid movie. Now, I know Zack Snyder's making a director's cut, but of the first one, and I'm just like, these are going to be two longer versions of both separate movies, and I just need to see it to know, because I don't know. So with Scargiver, here's the basic plot of Scargiver. Everybody that we met, the last movie ended with them going back to the farm moon planet, right? And now this movie's just the mother world are coming to the farm planet to capture the Scargiver girl, Cora, who is the main character. And yeah, that is like the whole movie. It's them prepping on they have like they have 5 days to get ready, because that's when they're coming. And all the 7 samurai people they picked up along the way are going to train this farm community to fight, and that's what happens. It's like an hour of setup for the fight, and then an hour of fighting, and that's the movie. And you learn some more things along the way. I think I liked this one more. It's so whereas the first one I liked the first hour, and then didn't care much for the last hour. This movie I didn't care much for the first hour. And then the last hour of this movie feels like the climax that the first movie should have had. Because you kind of get to know some of these characters that you didn't know in the first movie a little more. You don't really, but like you feel like you are, because they're at least talking and interacting with each other and like doing things. It's just a lot. And the movie kicks off with like another exposition dump to start the movie off, and it basically just tells you the plot of the first movie. So I don't know. You should watch it, but if you didn't watch it, the droid, what's his name droid comes in and tells you the plot of the first movie. So that's something. I think they're trying to be a little Star Warsy. I mean, I know they're trying to be a little Star Warsy, but it's like instead of an opening crawl that you read, a guy just tells you it. And I don't know, that works for Star Wars with the reading, but I don't know if it works as well with this. So I don't know. Let's hope in the director's cut that's not how it goes. But if it is, I just don't know. I guess it felt better than the last movie start, but whatever. What else do I got? I got notes here. So like, you start to see the characters that we met in the last movie interacting a little more with each other, but like, because I don't really know them, I just don't really care. Like, we knew in the last movie that Cassian Andor was in love with Cora because he said it a couple times. And then they kiss at the beginning, like near the beginning of this movie. And I just, even though I knew that there was something there, I didn't feel anything because I don't care. And then they bang. They don't show that, but it cuts to post bang. And then we dive into another fucking... There's post-nut clarity, and this movie has post-nut enlightenment. Post-nut information, post-nut backstory / pillow talk, where she then proceeds to tell Cassian Andor the rest of her backstory. You know how when you're post-coital, you just want to have some really serious talk about how you used to be a Nazi and how she's actually the one that killed... I don't know why she's the Scargiver, to be perfectly honest. Because, like, I don't know if she gave... I might have missed it in the first movie. So, sorry. It shows her backstory where, like, her stepdad, is the one who betrayed the king. Maybe we knew that. I don't really know. And he killed the old king and the old king's wife. And she, Cora, the main character, is the one that shot the daughter, the little girl, and she like dies, and all the light magical power comes out of her, which they never explain in the whole movie what any of the magic power in this is for any reason. But she shoots and kills her, and then Korra, her stepdad is just like, oh, she's the worst. She's the one from a different planet who killed our king. So they like put the blame on her. It's a very fucking weird scene, and then all these people are screaming in slow-mo at her, and she just kind of runs away. Nobody stops her. Nobody in this huge mother world ship stops her, and she just runs away, and that's how she ended up on the farm planet. So it was just like really stupid. I don't know. I did, like I said, the first hour I did not dig. And how she got off that ship, and they still want her, I have no idea why. And the movie doesn't really tell you at any point either. So there's that. So then it gets back to the planet, and like I said, they, like me and Braden joked about, they kind of do the movie we were talking about, where they just fucking farm their brains out in this one. It's an hour of them just like, because the whole thing is like, the Empire or the Mother World still wants these grains. So if we collect all the grains and we get all the harvest and we use them as a shield, they're not going to fire on us because they're going to need the grains. And at this point in the movie, I'm just still kind of like, yeah, they did need these grains, but like they're coming to get Korra now. Like they're coming for her. Do they really give a fuck about the grains? I found that plot line kind of odd, but like whatever, I'll go along with it. And they farm and at least if Zack Snyder didn't spend so much time showing farming in slow-mo, he could show more of like the characters connecting and doing stuff while farming, because there's a little bit of that, like the Asian chick who lost her children or something like that. She starts to kind of bond with the kids of the village, and like you see the Griffin guy kind of bonding with the Guardians of the Galaxy guy, and you're seeing it, but it's still not enough. And there's just so many scenes of slow-mo farming that I'm just like, I know that's his thing, I get it, but I just think he went fucking hog wild with the slow-mo in this one. Like, what does the slow-mo mean or do? There's so many scenes where it seems like it's supposed to mean something as to why this specific thing is in slow motion, but I don't know why. Also, there's shots of just characters turning and staring. Like, I feel like I'm supposed to feel what the characters are feeling. There's a moment where the girl who was in the resistance, and then when they all got fucking killed, she joined up with the 7 samurai, and she just kind of turns as they're walking away from a job well done and smiles. And like, I think if I just knew her more or knew why she gave a shit, why they needed to film. There's so many little moments in the first hour of this movie that I'm just like, why is this here? And so, that's the first hour. And like, there's little things with the villains where they're talking about their plans, but it's not in super big detail. They're almost not there at all. Like, these feel like two very different movies, but connected by some means. I'm sorry, guys. I'm just rambling because it's just a lot to take in. And like I said, I do like the second hour of this movie, but I'm still gonna bitch a bit. This is shit talk. This is our shit talk segment, and we're gonna shit on it a little. And I can't wait to talk about some of this with Braden. But there's another scene a little later in the movie, just before the battle, where like the main 7 samurai, the people that we collected in the last movie, they need to sit down and like swap secrets, swap like their backstories, and it's just like the longest fucking scene ever, where we learn about kind of what I wanted in the last movie, but also just done a little differently, and we just sit and we hear everybody. The Guardians of the Galaxy guy goes first. He tells his backstory of how he used to be a general for the Empire, and he got a bunch of his men killed by the Empire, and he regrets it. And like, these are good scenes, good backstories, but they're just like, one after another, and then it goes to the lightsaber chick, and how her village got wiped out by the Empire, and then it goes to the Griffin guy and how he used to be a prince on a Griffin kind of kingdom planet where like his dad died and he was gonna have to become the king, and then the Empire attacked and killed everybody, and he had to escape, and it's a very long scene, and it's just like, oh, this could have been done better and differently, and it just goes on forever, and I'm just like, what is the deal with this mother world? Like, we learned that they fucking suck, and they do. They suck because they suck, and they just hate little villages. Like, everybody's like, my village was attacked, my home was attacked. They just come up and they fucking kill everybody, and it's like, but why? I mean, they're bad. Maybe I don't need that. I just don't know. And then Korra, the guy's like, hey, Korra, what's your story? And she, you know, we learned it now through scenes with Andor, but she just says some kind of bullshit. She very simplifies her story and doesn't really go into full detail about it. And it's a really, like, and they just go with it. Like, you can tell the one dude's like, I don't know about this, but everybody else is just like, fair enough, we all just poured our hearts out, and you just told us a shit story. So, yeah, fuck, man, I don't know. I just don't know. I think if they would have moved some of the backstory around into the first movie, if they're gonna be two separate movies, like, I was hitting my head first hour. We're still farming. We're doing this backstory stuff. I was just like, oh man, maybe this movie is worse. But I felt like the action. So the last hour, the Nazis show up on the farm planet. They have this whole battle plan worked out where, like, some of the they've trained the farmers. They found a ship that Korra was, you know, the one she stole and landed on this planet on. So they hid that away so the Empire didn't know they had it. They have this nice little plan. It's like a fine plan, and then it's just an hour of just a climactic battle, which I mean, I was gonna stop watching and come back to it another time because I was just so done. But then it got to the action, and like, at least it was fun to watch action. Like, I guess I cared a little more about the characters than I had before, I guess. I don't fucking know. Maybe I'm just a sucker for some cool space action. The droid's more involved in this movie. His name is James. The crown that he ended the last movie on, I don't know if it ever really meant anything. He's kind of watching everybody train for a long time, and then he talks to Korra at one point before the battle, and then finally, like, near the end of the battle, he fucking goes red-eyed crazy and just starts kicking ass. So, like seriously, last 15 minutes of the movie, he finally comes in and beats the shit out of people, and I still feel like I don't know the guy, which sucks, because, like, the droid he seemed to be the most interesting, most knowledgeable. He's voiced by Anthony Hopkins. But I don't know, it just felt very wasted. So there's that. I wrote that. So Nemesis, she's the lightsaber Asian lady that they pick up with the cyborg arms. She has like a lightsaber battle that I wrote. Yeah, it was a pretty sick battle. It goes back and forth, and the music that plays throughout that battle, it's very different than none of the music really stood out to me, but that music did. So I have some good things to say. That lightsaber battle was kind of cool. Yeah, and Korra gets on the ship that she snuck in, or the one that she crash landed on, and she sneaks it into the Empire's like main ship, the Dreadnought, because they think it's one of theirs, and that's how her and Andor sneak onto that ship and plant bombs. And fuck, guys, I'm sorry, I just finished it, and it's just, both these movies together are certainly a lot. There's some stupid dialogue. One just bad actor goes, like, they're prepping for the battle to come, and he just goes, "To fight and die," and it just it took me out of the movie because I laughed out loud at that. And there was a point where the main villain who died in the last movie but came back to life was gonna fire the dreadnought on the whole farm company, like near the end of the battle. And his like advisor's like, "But sir, the grain," and I'm just like, "The fucking grain? Who cares about the why does anybody care about this grain? I know, like, they're going home. They can just eat when they get home." It was just, I don't know, a lot of forced plot points that didn't matter. Like, you're there for the Scargiver girl, right? Who fucking cares about the grain? It just, I didn't know what anybody wanted other than, like, the farm people wanted to protect themselves. I laughed at another part when there's this hunter guy from the last movie who shows up. He's a little more prominent in this one, but he's one of the main warriors for the farm, and he's kicking some ass, and he jumps on a ship to fight the villain from the last movie, and of course the villain beats him, but he throws him off the ship, and you just watch him fall, and I just wrote splat. He just drops. So battles can always give me something to look forward to, I suppose. So they're on the dreadnought. I'm bouncing. I'm sorry, but Cor and Andor are on the dreadnought planting bombs, and they go to escape, and that's when the main villain shows up, shoots Andor in the stomach. It's actually a pretty cool scene. The bombs go off, the dreadnought's like crashing the planet, and the main villain and Cor are like fighting each other in this crashing ship. They have they both have like their version of the lightsabers. It's a pretty decent fight scene, and Andor, even though he got capped, he's still capable of doing things, and they tag team, and they fucking kill the villain in a pretty sick way. She chops his head off, so. But also underwhelming, even though it was cool to see. It was just like, all right, that dude who might have been a cyborg robot, don't even know how he came back to life in the first place, just died. I don't know. And then they land back, they crash land, they get out with their ship, dreadnought explodes, and Cassian Andor, he ends up dying from his wound, and it's really sad. And then there's let's not forget the Resistance, who they kind of like met up with, the sister and the brother in the last movie. They're like the Resistance leaders, and the brother stayed with the main group, and the sister group they fucked off. I don't even really know what happened to them. I sort of forgot about them. I thought they died. And at the very end of this hour-long battle is like, finally the good guys have basically won anyways, even though there's still like troops on the ground of the mother world. The Resistance just comes in out of nowhere and kills everybody else. And it's just like, where the fuck were they the whole time? Did they know they were coming? I don't think anybody knew they were coming, but neither did me, the audience. It was just like, oh, good thing they showed up to finish the fight. And so that happens, and then they're at like the funeral. Because the Nemesis, the lady with the red lightsabers, she ends up getting killed in battle. She kicks some ass, and a little kid like saves her, but ultimately she gets killed. So a couple of the main characters die. Lots of farmers get killed. Like, dude, the cyborg villain guy, if he is a cyborg, don't know, just fucking goes down in the hole, like in the pits in the farm, and just fucking starts snapping necks and killing people left and right. So like, a lot of farmers died. There was also a sense of just like, holy fuck, there's a lot more farmers in this community than I thought. Like, there were just different battalions of farmer warriors, and it was just like, holy cow, they have a lot of people all of a sudden. It was a lot like the Dothraki in the final season of Game of Thrones. It was just like, oh, we got as many as we need to make this scene look cool. Okay. But yeah, the funeral scene happens, and this also got me, because the movie ends and sets up a sequel, but like, based on an explanation that we don't know fucking anything about, given by a character that I'm like, how the fuck does this guy know this? So they go, the Guardians of the Galaxy guy is like, Korra, hey, we actually know your backstory, even though you didn't tell it to us. And she's like, you knew the whole time. So you knew that I killed the princess, the dead king's daughter. You know, she died. And he's like, well, what if I told you she's not dead, actually? And she's just like, what? And everybody's like, she's not dead, but we gotta find her, but we don't know where she is. And I just find it odd that the droid that seems to know everything, he's the exposition droid. He's also just like, oh, I didn't know that. Like, the Guardians of the Galaxy guy, the old general, just happens to know that she's still alive and somewhere, and it's just like, how is she alive? I didn't even think her being alive was a possibility, because all I've seen of her is that she can bring things back from the dead, and then she got capped, literally shot and killed by Core. We watched this bitch die, and this guy's just like, she's actually alive somewhere, and the movie ends with them all being like, yeah, she's alive and we gotta find her. And that's how the movie ends. And it's just like, holy moly. And I trust me, I sum that up as best as I can, and it's still a mess. And Braden and I will be going into a better, discussion detail of our thoughts on this movie on the beginning of the next episode. But there's just both these movies together. They feel like too much and too little all at the same time. And I want more of some things and less of others. There's stuff in here to like. There's a lot of concepts, and like visually it's very nice, and I'd like to see more, but I'd also like to see less. And I'd like some more explanation. Like, if there is, like, the Emperor or her stepdad in the last movie shows up, and he's like, they're communicating via like some sort of telepathic link in this like electric ice world, and there's just none of that in this movie. And it's just like, I get saving things, but tell us something about any of it, or don't. Like, either make this a movie about this planet and these farmers focusing right on the here and now, or make it about the world. Like, don't not do both. It make it very unsatisfying. Yeah, I don't know. There are parts from both I liked, but most of all, I see why there are so many issues. And like, if I hear these director's cuts are good, I'll check them out. But otherwise, I'm just like, I don't know. I don't know. So yeah, that's Rebel Moon Part 2, the Scargiver. At least what I got to say about it. And Braden will come on in the next episode, and we'll kind of talk. He'll probably remind me of some things that I forgot along the way. So yeah, that's our shit talk segment. Some weeks we'll do shit talk, some weeks we'll do In the Dark. In the Dark is usually movies we like, and we have a lot of positive things to say about. And shit talk is just where we come on and talk about shitty movies. And we kind of have two planned for the next episode. So another shit talk segment. So we'll see how that one goes. But yeah, so that's it. That's the show. I'd love to. It's late, and without Braden, it's just hard to do this one by myself. So I'm just gonna say thanks everybody for listening in. And if you stayed this long, even though it was just me rambling, I really appreciate it. Follow us at Nerd Shit in the Dark on everywhere podcasts are. Do our little plugs. We got an Instagram page where I'm always posting things. We got the shirts coming up, so keep an eye out for that. You can email us at nerdshitinthedark@gmail.com. Maybe tell us some things to watch. Yada, yada, yada. All that crazy shit. All right. But I am going to get going. Cut this one kind of off pretty abruptly, but 'tis what it is. So, yeah. Good. On that note, good night. Sleep tight, and don't let the shit bugs bite. And as always, even though he's not here, Braden loves you. Toodles.